Welcome to Dynaground. Hello, my name is Owen and I'm your professional Dyna rider. Today I'll be teaching you how to ride a dinosaur and win that chicken dinner. Now, let's begin. Relax, don't be scared. That's the sound of the mighty T-Rex. Now, here's the first dinosaur encounter. I want you to meet my girl Vicky, my sweet little raptor. Look how cute she is.
Isn't she lovely?
Vicky or raptors, they're the most vicious and fastest beasts in the world. To ride a dinosaur, first you must build trust. They are carnivores. They eat meat. You have to feed them off. They will think that you are their friend, not food. Once they trust you, they will be a great companion. However, taming a dinosaur can be seen. Experience dinosaur taming and riding the all-new version of PUBG Mobile Dynaground. Explore Dyna Settlement and Wild Reserve and embark on a prehistoric adventure in the Battle Royale game. Come and play now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ruthless Europe Invitational as we found ourselves back towards these desk to find some amazing scrimmage actions with the amazing teams of Europe. There are going to be many teams, but before we dive into our matches and schedule, let's introduce our co-caster, none other than Raider. Raider, today is going to be a very good day. It's going to be the first day of our Europe Invitationals, and I cannot wait to explore this, like entire region, that how it's going to pan out overall.
Oh, definitely. I've seen quite a few teams of this region, and I'm actually quite surprised to see those teams coming up once again in the Invitational Showdown. I would love to see how they're going to go in the later stages of the competition, because we have to know there are two phases, phase 1 and phase 2, which is phase 1. If I talk about that, it is going to start from somewhere like today, and it is going to go like towards 3rd June. And then after that, there is phase 2, in which again some more fights are going to be there. But let's talk about the point distribution system first of all, so that we can have an idea of how the stakes are going to change and how much teams have to put in effort with. I really believe that can actually dictate a lot of fights. Either the teams want to be with a passive one, or maybe for the survivals and stuff like that. But moving forward, the only position which is going to get the double-digit pointers for a team in terms of placement points is going to be the chicken dinner. Is going to be that position where the team is going to score the first position, that is 10 points. Second place, 6 points. Third place, 5 points. Fourth place, 4 points. Fifth place, 3 points. Sixth place, 2 points. Seventh and eighth position is going to get them 1 point each, but 0 points for positions coming after that. And eventually, every single elimination, or should I say kill point, is going to be there with every single kill.
Something very unfortunate if you end up at the bottom positions. But talking about the entire schedule, as you mentioned, it's going to be two phases. First phase breaks down the 1st, 2nd and 3rd June as we find ourselves in with all of these teams, and that's going to be a prize pool of $1,000. The one who makes it in the second phase will also get to compete for the $1,000 prize pool, out of it the first place gets away with $500, the second with $250, third with $150, and the MVP of the game is something which we'd watch out for. But with the tournament info, I think it's time for us to even introduce our teams as well. We're gonna have some amazing set of teams, and I cannot wait to see how Team FUT Esports, one of my favorite, is gonna eventually come out. But yeah, like how excited are you for this 3 days? Because how important it becomes is that today is the first day, and first day itself gives a lot of opportunity for the teams to top up the tabletops.
I mean, yeah, definitely. First day is going to be one of those days where the team can gel with each other and eventually learn about the strategies that the opponent is going to use. But all of that is going to be there in the later stages. But let's talk about the teams. We have for esports, RP7, Kairos, Rookie, Siren, and eventually if we talk about OZAROX esports, we have Cypher, Kenzie, Nox, Spain. Again, a very good roster. I would love to see how next year is going to perform because they have also got players like Wolf and Yakta into their roster. And if we talk about FLUX esports, we have players like Lutz, Soulless, Kesh, which have actually outperformed quite a few players in the initial stages of their own meta. But eventually moving forward, let's talk about the next 4 rosters as well. Remember guys, these are the teams which are going to represent the phase 1 today. And we have the REGNUM CARYA, we have BESIKTAS esports, again one of those amazing teams which have been the orchestrating team which have decided a lot of fights in the initial stages. But yeah, we have got Jesse, Enjoy, Peace, and then eventually if we talk about MELISE esports, we have Poser, KCO, CEO, and also Leos.
Oh man, this is going to be an interesting one. We do have, the players none other than Sonnet, Zeshi, Enjoy, Peace, and Howie from the side of BESIKTAS Esports. But let's see how the other 4 teams are going to come up. It's going to be the Major Pride, the GAIMIN Gladiators, and then we have SBJ and none other than Excuse Me. So I think have BVL, VK, Furia, Beck, Kevik, and Prada is going to be the one to watch out for. Nomi, Yen, Dino, Moki, and Effect from the side of Major Pride. These are going to be all of the teams who will be coming out from the EMEA region. We talk about the central, Europe. That's where you are going to see these amazing teams. We have the Turkish teams as well. We have teams from all around the Europe being the top ones. And these are the teams to watch out for, not just the teams, but also the players. As you can see, you can see, like Sune, Texi, and then you can see Make You from the side of GAIMIN Gladiators. But let's take a look out of what the other teams have. From Germany, it's been none other than NEXUS Gaming, ARR Esports, SLY, Europe, and then we have MADBULLS.
Well, if I is coming to the play, I would love to see how MADBULLS is going to perform today. Because again, just like being dominated in this particular region is also MADBULLS. So I would love to see how Frozen like you is going to perform today. If we talk about Star Europe, yes, exactly as you said, we have a place like Mandarin, Reflect, and eventually I guess the performance is something which is going to be a bit more escalated in the later stages of the day. But yes, the initial fights might be a little bit more of that calculation where the teams want to learn about each other, where the teams want to learn about their drop locations and how they're going to perform in this particular IP presented by Ruthless Esports. But all in all, yes, we have quite a few amazing teams coming to the play. Make sure to actually tell us which is your favorite team, because I can always see in the chat that there are quite a few fans of BESIKTAS Esports, which is absolutely amazing. But are you a fan of MADBULLS? Who are NEXUS Esports? Let us know in the chat as well, because we do know about it, but eventually their performance is something which has made it their way in your hearts at this point. But moving forward, yes, let's talk about more and more things. Let's talk about the schedule. Let's talk about the schedule for the day, and it is going to be the first map where the Wrangle is going to spawn for us, and eventually after that we have Miramar. Just after that we'll be having Wrangle, and then eventually Miramar, and after that, in order to sum up the day, the fifth match for the day is going to be Wrangle. Remember guys, every single day, both in phase 1 and phase 2, 5 matches are going to be there. So in a grand total, I believe we have 30 matches to watch out for. And in these 30 matches, in phase 1, to be precise, 15 matches are going to happen. And in these 15 matches, whichever team is going to be on top is obviously going to get cherished with the particular prize pool that we were able to talk about in the initial stage. So yes, I'm excited about those things as well.
I think it's going to be an interesting ride, but for now, we're going to dive inside the home matchup, which is going to be none other than a Wrangle. The teams are going to prep themselves up. It's going to be an important one because it's the day one. Teams have to realize that this first game means a lot to them, especially when we took after, the entire look at the points table. Only the team who comes as the #1 position, the team who contests for the winner chicken dinner, gets away with the double digit. Rest of the team, it's a lot of kill based, competition. Teams have to make sure that they get themselves engaged in any fight. Just surviving and playing for no kills might not get themselves in any good place possible. But for now, let's take a look after the predictions, as I'd love to hear it from you. What's going to be your prediction when we dive into this matchup?
I think MELISE Esports could be the one prediction I would love to actually go with. So for me, it is MELISE Esports. Let's see how far that prediction is going to be correct.
I think I'm gonna go with the like Turkish pride, none other than FUT Esports. This team is gonna be someone whom I'm really excited to see. But yeah, I think it's just not us two. It's even the chat who have been like really supportive towards many teams. So let's see what the chat is gonna go up with.
Yeah.
Do give your predictions down there in the chat section as we dive over to the first game very soon. And I mean, it's gonna be an interesting one as we mentioned. First game of the day. It's the day one at the Ruthless Europe Invitationals, and man, this is gonna be an important day. No matter which teams wins or which team not, they will get a chance to give their comeback. But whichever team gets away with the winner chicken dinner will definitely walk away with the top positions in the entire points table.
And definitely, I mean, starting from the day number one, and eventually, if that team is able to dominate, it's a good thing for them. If they are able to dominate, if they are able to put that pressure from the initial stages of the tournament, it is going to get them far in the later stages. But eventually, if you become predictable, it can backfire as well. So I would love to see how teams are going to cope up with that, how they are going to just completely innovate some new strategies and eventually come up with those plays. Because we do have Miramar, we do have Erangel. As we know, Erangel is the base, or should I say, OG map where everybody knows how to play with every single looking corner. You know how to hold, you know how to perform, you know how to rotate, and eventually the teams also know how to aggress in this particular map. But when it comes to Miramar, you have to be a bit more calculative because things can backfire quite rapidly. You have ridges to play with, you have smaller compounds to play with, a bit more open into the map, and eventually the vehicles are also not that, should I say, favoring as compared to the map. So definitely, I guess quite a few things can actually go south in the particular map of Miramar. But in order to see that, we have to check out the first map of Erangel, and after that, we'll move on to the Miramar for sure. So yes, 2 Miramar for the day and 3 Erangels for the day. What are your predictions? Do let us know, because there are actually quite a few amazing polls coming on the channel. That which teams are you supporting? Is it Gaming Gladiators? Is it FLUX? Is it SBG? Or any other team? Well, for me, it's MELISE. For Upcon, it's some other team. But eventually, what about you guys? Because there are still quite a few options for you guys to choose with.
Exactly. I think, the majority of the audience, have been really found themselves up in the FLUX Esports and between Gaming Gladiators. So let's see, is it us at the panel or is it them at the chat as an audience who know the teams better? Teams, it's going to be, the first day, they're surely going to prep themselves up. I do not anticipate when it comes down to Erangel any sort of certain drop clashes. I think teams are going to get a peaceful start for them to get themselves the best loot possible, play the zone, play the rotation, and might as well get for the kills. Because if you engage yourself in the very starting, zone fights, I think these early drop clashes, these early hot drops would really put yourself up in a difficult position that no matter if you win or lose, your fights, you will end up getting casualties. You do not want to lose out that numbers advantage. You want to keep those 4 players till the very last zone of your, the entire battle royale, because this numbers will really give you a very crucial, especially if you're playing for the long run, for the end circles. Playing in the very start, going for the kills, and you getting some player loss towards your team puts you down in numbers advantage. And any which ways out in any sort of 4v3 or 4v2 fight, you know that you're already on a numbers disadvantage. So you have to play a lot of factors here. But we know how chaotic the end circles could also be at the same time.
Oh yeah. Eventually, if you are surviving for the first few circles, definitely the last few circles are going to be way too hectic. And we have seen that happening in the Europe region as well. Like eventually in the initial stages, teams have to actually drop in their own separate vicinities or eventually go for some other open up area where they can easily loot up and then eventually spawn around, come up in a close fight in the later stages. And eventually what happens in that, like the first 15 minutes are going to be very passive, but eventually the last 10 minutes are going to be way too chaotic. Too many knockouts are going to be there, too many eliminations are going to be there, and that is the sweet part of the particular matchup. But eventually, in order to see that 10 minute, we have to see out those strategies that are going to happen in the first 5 or 15 minutes, because you have to check out the loots, you have to get the right utilities, the right accessories for the gun, the attachments to be precise, and eventually the right choice of weapon is going to be really very important. And we have seen utilities, the usage of utilities have changed, or should I say turned a lot of performance into the favor of that particular team, which was losing the gunfights. But definitely that can be the case where teams are going to be a bit more dependent onto the utilities. But yeah, although all of those things are the speculations, what will happen is something that we have to watch out for in the first map, and eventually after that 14 more matches are going to be there in the phase 1, and after that I believe one day break is going to be there, and eventually phase 2 will start from 5th June or 4th June maybe. So yeah, eventually all the calendars, all the dates are already out. You can check out all the things on the Ruthless IP Sports' Instagram handle, that is esports.ruthless. Make sure to go ahead and follow them so that you can get daily updates and stuff like that. But all in all, we are just waiting for the first match to get started. Just waiting for the call from the back end to just see the flight path coming into the play.
Exactly. I think flight path is also going to play a very key role, especially if you see each and every team down towards falling themselves in the most, comfortable position. But at the same time, we talked about the angle. Cannot deny the fact how tricky could Miramar be. For those teams who don't get the best of the maps, best of the fights towards the map of Erangel, I think Miramar could be a very big map to be depended on to make sure that you get enough loot, and not just it's about the loot, but also end yourself up in a very survival state. Surviving in Erangel tend to be way more harder than what you get to see in Miramar. At the same time, whenever you're down to some numbers advantage, Miramar is a vast playground. It's a vast, I'll say, war zone where you can find yourself any cover in any corner of the game. But yeah, the rotation at the same time is the trickiest part. Rotating in Erangel in the biggest, task for you, especially if there are not much numbers when it comes down to the end circle. But when it comes down to Miramar, you got to have that one vehicle. If you don't have that, the play zone is going to play a key role, and you might not want to end up in the circle itself in this chaotic, before the chaotic fights even starts up. So I think Erangel, Miramar, these two, compositions getting rotated. We're going first, heading towards Erangel, then Miramar, then again Erangel, Miramar, Erangel. I think 5 games, teams at least at the end of the day might want to target themselves up towards anywhere between 30 to 50 points. Anything above 50 points could be great. But if you even manage to get yourself up towards 40 points, that's like at least top 5 wins secured in the points table.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, putting the pressure from the initial day is going to be really very important for quite a few teams. And we will see quite a few teams going a bit more aggressive as compared to some other team, which is going to be a bit more passive, which is going to depend more on the placement points. And after that, they're going to ignite in the fight. But all in all, well, guys, after a lot of wait, we are finally going to move on to the first map of this particular Europe Invitational presented by Ruthless Esports. And in just 25 seconds, you'll get to see the sweet fight path. And remember, guys, this is the island-based map known as Erangel, where the fight is going to be there. This is phase number 1, day number 1, and also match number 1. So we are going to dive straight into it pretty much soon. And my prediction for the fight path, or should I say, my desire for the flight path is going to be a diagonal one, which might actually start from Prismok and go towards like Lipovka or maybe even Kamishki. And if that happens, it will be amazing. But yeah, all in all, 25 seconds have been passed. Yes, the flight path is going to come in. What are your predictions, guys? What particular team are you supporting at this point? Let us know. But it is starting. It is starting from Georgiepool, Southwest City, and it is going way towards Novoripno, if I'm not wrong. So that's a decent flight path. Again, a diagonal one. But eventually, if we talk about the southern vicinities like Sosnovka Island and Novoripno, it is quite accessible. Well, if we compare it with Severny, Stalber, and Kamishki, it's going to be a bit far away. Those teams which love to jump in the Stalber, Kamishki region, they have to, I guess, muster some courage and eventually get some vehicles.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. But heading towards the flight path, as you mentioned, there are 2 teams going apart towards the Georgiepool regions. There are the containers, then you have the city, then you have the outskirts. Let's see how it is going to pan out for both of them. Meanwhile, if you talk about the side of none other than REGNUM CARYA Esports, so let's see where they might be going. We still are waiting to see Team FUT. Man, meanwhile, going all the way towards the side of farm. 2 teams heading towards the ferry pair. Now, this is interesting. 2 teams, I think it could already be a big start of the fight, but look after the teams who are falling down towards the northern side of the plane path. Only 1 team managed to go on the other side of the plane path, which is like really rare, but I think the fights have already begun. And yeah, I think starting things off, it's going to be the Georgiepool city, as we were talking about both the teams just facing off against each other. And what a way to start. FLUX Esports is going to be the one who will be starting things off, kicking up with a good knock, but what soulless, that is not to be the case. He knocks himself out with the grenade and the pressure gets better of him. An unfortunate position to be in, but FLUX Esports, can they recover from this position? So, because just right next to them, it's going to be an instant pressure, but a good knock coming in from the side of Lulz. Gets a knock out of the Uzi. Micro Uzi is still doing wonders, but still, they find themselves up in a 3 versus 2 scenario. Or the revival is there, so they have the 4-man advantage, but once again, the shotguns comes into play as they find themselves up in a 1 versus 2. But the grenade once again being a major drawback. On the other side, it's gonna be GAIMIN Gladiators. So both prediction which Chad has done has been down in a very bad numbers advantage. In the meantime, the first knocks also comes in, but wow, what a knock coming in from the side of Matic as he chooses FPV to take down the opponent players one by one.
Oh yeah, the picks are coming in. Eventually, I was expecting a lot of fight coming in, and eventually, yes, That's exactly what we're getting. This is the first map teams are trying to test their buttons and eventually get as many aspects as possible at this point. And if we talk about gaming gladiators, yes, they are looking sweet. They've got two amazing packs. Indeed, the player was knocked out, but eventually I guess that revival is going to come in pretty soon and it will save the day. All in all, it's a good fight. It's a good aggression coming in from gaming gladiators in the Philippine region. They're just completely trying to isolate the teams, isolate the players to be precise, and then eventually pick them bit by bit. Soulless on the other corner gets two, and eventually he was the one which popped himself with the nade. But at the end, he's still surviving. At the end, he's still having the two amazing finishes, and eventually the 4-man power is already there for the team. But moving forward, let's see how this height advantage that Lutz is trying to come up with is going to help him. But yeah, at the end, it's done for excuse me. They have been excused out of the lobby, but there is another fight. There is another pick coming in from the stairs. This is going to be a DBS pick. Yes, indeed, that was a sweet shot. Oh, another shot coming into the play. Two good players of the team known as Gaming Gladiators have already thrown into a knockout position. What will happen? How the retaliation is going to come in, that's a big part because NRX, they are looking good at this point. I mean, he's the last one standing, no doubt in that, but eventually Gaming Gladiators is already on a very good pressure-like situation at this point because yes, the tap shots of the DBS is coming in, and with those amazing shots, he's trying to just judge and he's trying to just completely diminish the urge of push that was coming in from Gaming Gladiators. So, ooh, that was a shot. That was a shot. I mean, he's trying to finish off the play. Another DBS pick coming in, and that could be it. Oh, what was happening? A 1v4 coming from this guy. A huge competition from NEXUS. I was not at all expecting that, but this DBS giant, he was completely able to shut down one of those fan favorite team known as Gaming Gladiators. No doubt, Gaming Gladiators was able to just completely diminish the manpower of this particular team, but at the end, froze. Look at him, frozen. He was wonderful with that DBS.
That was just miraculous. What a play from the side of Frozen. And he takes down each and every one of them. I think that's the supremacy of DBS. DBS has been one of the most meta gun at this point, especially if you are in the short range. You have, the 12, 13 on the back of your ammunitions, the magazine is full. Every player who just walks into your crosshair, the range is so powerful. I mean, earlier days when you had DBS in the airdrops, it was still a bit playable, but now it's just quite overpowered, and that's what I'd love to see how teams are going to put themselves into a secondary, like a loadout slot, because this weapon in the close range is a beast, and so is Frozen in that DBS. But for now, 46 players and only 13 teams. Already, I think, a good chunk of teams have been eliminated, and the teams still surviving do have some casualty. If you talk about the start of team SBG, down to 3 players. If you talk about the start of team NR, only one single player who is going to be none other than Frozen. And FUT Esports as well joined up with 3 players. They got the one possession kill, which could be really, I'll say at the same time an advantage. But let's see how the first zone is going to end up, because most of the teams have started to rotate themselves up towards the circle, and I think the circle might not really put teams in a very tricky positions, because most of the teams were towards the mainland. When we talk about Yasiana, team SBJ is still having only 3 players, and they might want to go up and take some fights as the retaliation have to come in onto the side of Kakashi as he went down. But this 3v4, let's see how amazing could this pan out, because just right next to them, if I'm not wrong, it's going to be none other than Team BJK, and Team BJK, which is going to be none other than Baskets Esports. They have 3 players, Peace, Zone HP, and Enjoy, and they have the entire central position of Yasiana. Meantime, if you talk about Team SBJ, they are towards a little museum side. They'll make sure that they play the zone at this point, because over-aggressing with no intel is going to be not that viable, especially when it's the first game and you're down to a numbers disadvantage.
I mean, if the number disadvantage is going to be there, obviously that pressure is going to diminish all the urge of coming up with some good finishes and stuff like that. But SPG, they have got the mother building type of compound in their favor. On the other corner, I believe BRA Esports manages to get one from AR. That's interesting, but AR is also trading of the fights. Can clearly see that AR's Becca has been taken down at this point with the UMP45 attack. Ooh, that was a long shot, but eventually with that M4 and 3X, it was quite possible. But look at this. 3 good players. Oh, another DBS. Another DBS coming into the play, but still, BRA Esports is there with the full manpower and they are able to sum up the deal in their favor, and that's the best part. But there is going to be a situation of a third party coming in from REG. Let's see how that third party works out for the guys. But yes, 2 amazing finishes. Have to go for the third one. Have to revive their teammates. BRA Esports, the last one standing, is going to be a bit far away. He's trying to just completely flee away from the situation so that he can come up with some placement points, because you do know, guys, that yes, if you don't, if you are unable to get the kills, if you are not that well with the aggression at this point, you can easily go for the placement points. If you are able to survive with that, it will actually help you a lot. But at the other corner, VRA Esports is coming up with some good revivals. You can clearly see CARYA is back in the game. The guy which was knocked out is obviously going to get finished pretty soon, but here is just trying to buy time, and REG Tron on the other corner is also trying to perform.
3 players now stacked up towards the side of the reach position. But here, the late rotation, let's see how this pans out. Team 4 Esports are only up with 3 players. They all made themselves in, regroup towards the shelter position, 680 meters more to cover. Meanwhile, Team Frozen, the player Frozen is up with 4 kills, but at the second position. On the top, leading the, entire leaderboard, it's still going to be the start of Team FLUX Esports, who got that entire control in that, northern George pool. So they have so much area to play with. But let's take a look after the zone. The zone all the way goes up towards the top. Let's see how many water compounds still happen. Oh, it's still a big chunk of the entire Severny Rozog area. So I think this has to be the zone which goes a little bit towards the center of the shooting range. Let's see, that's where the teams are also been aligned in. Topok being towards the eastern side of the Zarki, but here take a look what's happening towards the mid side. The rotations are coming in. You can see Team MADBULLS at the same time rotating just right next towards Team ARR Esports, and on the right, the teams at the start of Yasiana. I think there were 2 teams. They have to give up the fight. I think it was none other than BESIKTAS. Alongside them, it was Team SBG. So both of the teams need to wave a white flag, need to go off, move in towards the play circles. Because look after what's happening in the play circles. Already teams have started to rotate, already take their ground, and this, if you're late at the entire game, it's going to be a little difficult. But a good spray from the start of Team Dry Sports, but yet not able to find any success with it. Let's see if the push at Dali has to come in, because there's no need. They have 3 defeats already, and with the 3 defeats, I think they can really plan themselves up towards a very good positioning point. 3 kills, not the most best one for you, but at least for a start, they put themselves up in the top 5 position of the leaderboard.
I mean, yes, the hunger of that getting early finishes is obviously going to get diminished a bit, but it seems like that Bryce is going to come up with some good points as well. But BESIKTAS on the other corner is now fighting with Sly Europe. I would love to see how the performance goes on. Oh, that nade was actually close, and also that Molly. Mandarin just barely escaped with it. And if we talk about Sean HP, he's actually quite low on its SP. Oh, that nade was also close once again. He's just surviving by the hair, but Enjoy finds one from third Esports, and that's Kairos who has been taken down. Other big pick is going to come in. Seems like that Sly Europe is going to have a very tough time surviving at this point, because they already have lost one good player. Another one is knocked out. But what about the third one? How is going to perform? This is Mandarin, who's trying to actually come up with some good angles in his favor. He has got the MP45 with the 28 bullets. That's precise. But Sly Europe's another member was able to get with a beautiful shot. But there is another retaliation coming in. It was a 1v1 between Mandarin and the other guy from BESIKTAS. If I'm not wrong, that was P7. But he has been shot down completely. Brown on the other corner, CARYA has been taken down as well. So yes, multiple KOs are coming in from BESIKTAS Esports, from Bry Esports as well. But eventually, if we talk about MELISE Esports, they are still surviving. They are still getting picked up. But yes, the survival is there. So yes, we do have, I guess, just 3 teams which have been admitted. But eventually, all the other teams which are surviving the lobby, like 13 teams to be precise, are going to put up one hell of a show in the later stages of the game. But please do see a very aggressive stance coming from quite a few teams, be it MELISE Esports, be it teams like ARR. After losing one good guy, after actually just surviving with just one player, obviously ARR is not going to be that comfortable right now for fighting with the battle. But the Bry Esports, look at their battle. Look at how they are actually trying to come up with some good advantage areas, because they've got the angles, they've got the knockouts on Kisyu as well. So obviously, for that revival of Kisyu from the team known as MELISE Esports, they have to get some good picks. And yes, exactly that's what they're trying to get it, because that pick is obviously going to create a lot of dissection. It seems like that zone is actually taking another huge shift, and it is going a bit more towards the Rozak region. But it's a 1v2. It's a 1v2 between Kazers, Ellis, and Lewis. Let's see how they're going to perform. CURTR on the other corner comes up with some amazing flank as well. He's trying to come up with a elimination angle onto the guys of Bry Esports, who have been knocked out already.
Oh yeah, and there we go. I think Team 4 Esports, meantime, They get eliminated at the 13th spot. The mark for Grenadier comes in. Team Bryce Sports once again trying to fall back, but oh, not the car. I think it's the vehicle knock they were looking for. The domination is on from the side of Team Bryce Sports as they find themselves up with 5 elimination. Now it's going to be Kaiser chasing down the player, and I think this is going to be not an easy chase. They are indeed going to push himself up towards the outskirts of the entire circle, watching up towards the shore, but oh, this is going to be interesting. It's a 1v2. He falls up, but Levy's little does he know that he is only going to be good for nothing. And the zone, oh, he wants to get the kill towards the zone. Now this is going to be difficult as Kaiser is just wanting to chase him down. Let's see if the chase of Tom and Jerry could really come inside the play. He just did not want to give a single kill to him, and that is so well smartly played from the side of Levy's. Bryce Sports, both of the players are just going to be down, and the kill is going to go down towards the water. Now this is such an unfortunate position to be in. Bryce Sports not the most ideal situation for them. They are going to be really annoyed. All of that chase, all of those damage just for nothing. And how smart could you play if you are Team MB? But nonetheless, now the rotation comes through as once again. I think one of the most interesting positions out of all of the teams, it's going to be only one, which is going to be from the side of Frozen as he finds himself up towards the no man land. But what a knock coming in this time. It's going to be the RUTHLESS Esports find themselves up only with 2 players alive. Storm has to do a lot of heavy lifting just right next to them. It's going to be the Asiana team SVG slowly steadily rotating in.
Yeah, I mean, the rotations are going to come in for sure because we do have a lot of anticipation coming into the lobby because of the SC aggression was there. We have 12 teams in the anything place surviving. I would love to see how OZAROX is going to rotate because they are going to get confronted with both SBG and some other teams which are already trying to keep the particular play zone, which is going to be the fourth play zone, I believe. So yes, pretty soon things will change rapidly. But before that, I guess it's all about the cat and mouse change because you can clearly see some tap shots are going to come in and eventually some knockouts will be there. But those knockouts, those tap shots are not going to be enough because even if SVG gets one knockout, do remember that SVG is surviving with just 3 men standing. And after that spray, after that misalignment of the movement, I really think SVG's performance is actually going to get compromised pretty soon. And eventually they're going to get tagged off a lot. I would love to see how these performances is going to change. But because on the other corner, we have some other teams. I wasn't able to remember that particular team's name, but yes, there were some beautiful shots with the MP45 and also with the DBS. Currently, yes, that's the 2 guns which are actually having their strongest meta in the close range combat. We do have a DBS, which is one shot, one knockout type of gun, and eventually we talk about the close range, good recoil control gun. That could be the MP45. That's why I guess it is being used that relevantly. But at the same time, if we talk about MADBULLS, they're also trying to push forward. I believe MADBULLS and MELISE Esports could be fighting pretty soon, and if that fight happens, things won't be that comfortable for MELISE because they don't have the manpower.
Exactly, but let's take a look after what the zone has to offer for the entire team. Because so far, the numbers look still good for the side of Team Bryce Sports. It still look good for the side of none other than Team Fire. And yeah, I think it's going to be FLUX Esports being all the way up with 4 total kills. NR, not greatest with the numbers advantage, but hey, at least Team MAD will still manage to find himself up in some good fights. MADBULLS waiting, it's going to be Team Reg just right down at 3 teams just right next to each other in these triangular fights. This is going to be interesting. It's the open rural spots where teams have to fight up with. These rich advantage could be something to talk about, but Luxy is going to take some damage, thrown down instantly, yet no retaliation being done. Their weapon isn't the most ideal one. I spot 2 M16s in the hands of Team RGE, and I think with these M16s, if it was the grounds of Miramar, it would be something interesting to watch out for. But yeah, I think these M16s are something which teams are really going to be relying on. How promising could that be is the question. But so far, we haven't yet seen any sort of mid-range fight, especially when it comes down with any M16s. Most of the knock especially came in, with DBS, with M4s, with the assault rifle. If we talk about the aerial rolls, it was none other than Uzi and, UMPs. But teams in Europe, completely changing out the entire meta, testing the best of the patches. And now, MADBULLS, Frozen. Also, there are 2 Frozens. One from the side of none other than Team NR, which is going to be next RUYA, and the other from the side of our very own MADBULLS. But here we go, FLUX Esports. They are in a total domination. They are in a total rampage. 5 eliminations for them. The zone is what is going to be a fact, and Lee Europe already gets eliminated at this 12 spot. So before we head on to the end circles, it's only 11 teams more remaining.
Yep, eventually 11 teams and 30 players are surviving at this point. If we talk about 5 plus esports, definitely healing is something which is going to be quite crucial. But he is left with just band-aids, which is obviously going to put a lot of pressure while healing himself and also trying to make a cover. At the same time, if we talk about Nexus Gaming, they have the 3-man power, out of which one good guy has already been taken down. The last 2 members surviving are trying to be on a very passive note. I believe they're not trying to take some fights. They are just trying to be on the other corner where they have the compounds. They're trying to survive with it. A passive gameplay indeed. But at the same time, SBG is going to get connected with OZAROX Esports. That's the two particular teams which were trying to fight with each other in the initial circle as well, if you guys remember, in the second and third circle. But right now we are off to the fifth circle pretty soon. And still that fight between OZAROX Esports and SBG is going on. Let's see how Victor is going to perform with that. He has got the buggy. He has to rotate in the zone. OZAROX on the other corner finds one from FLUX Esports. That means the manpower of FLUX Esports might just shut down pretty soon. But if that happens, it is obviously going to create a lot of pressure on the particular team. But yes, still the survival is there. And with that, REG's wild 7-7K has been taken down. That means MADBULLS is now trying to create some buzz at this point. And yeah, there we go. Frozen 444 gets one from REG, and that's Strawn who has been taken down.
Oh, let's see, what do we have here? It's gonna be some heal beans pops up, energy drink at the same time, but Team MADBULLS all the way towards center. The circle couldn't have been much trickier, but it's a difficult spot if you are at the Frozen's POV. Frozen's is going to be all the way on the other side of the no man's land. He has to swim his way in towards this land. He has to make sure that he at least gets some cover for himself, and all of these action also to make sure that there's no one to come in and fight, spot himself up. The max skill in the lobby is yet 5, but look, after Frozen, he finds 3 players of RUYA Esports, M16 alongside a UMP45. So, well, this is one of those interesting, picks which he wants. Smokes away the crate, wants to loot the enemy crate. He has also a very good, vehicle for himself. But how is this end circle going to pan out is what the main question lies in. All of the teams do have a major chunk of the entire end circles for themselves, but is it going to be enough to put themselves up in a spot to get the winner chicken dinner? Team FLUX Esports already are topping when it comes down to Nox, and here we go once again. The Nox looks good, but it's not in the name of Ketch. So Ketch has to make sure that he gets any sort of, a retaliation. But Team RUYA Esports, oh my god, that's an elimination. That's a clean domination from the side of REGNUM CARYA. And what a way for the side of, REGNUM CARYA to get each and every one of the players. I think most of the damage was done from the side of none other than MAD Esports. But both of the team, the only team who you're gonna feel sad for is gonna be Team RUYA Esports. But once again, MADBULLS 5 dominations for them. Once again, they joined the 5-kill club. It's not just them, it was also the side of Team RUYA Esports, but them getting eliminated at the 10th spot, that doesn't give any single placement point to them.
Well, yeah, indeed, I would totally agree with your points at this point. But eventually, moving forward, yes, we do have a lot of ruckus going on, because remember, guys, we were emphasizing on the point that eventually in the initial circle, if that fight is not going to get amplified, if a lot of teams are going to survive till the last, then definitely the chaos will be there. And we can clearly see the last one signing, that was, if I'm not wrong, Pubg, coming from AR Esports, is already getting eliminated. OZAROX Esports now have the advantage of the gas station, and they're trying to fight with it, but there are some nades that are coming in from FLUX Esports. Remember, they have got the 5 amazing elimination, and I really believe those eliminations are obviously going to boost up their motivation, boost up their meta at this point. That's how they're trying to fight with it. Narvalo on the other corner from SVG is also surviving with the small compound that is there in the back ends of the Snapoliana's bridge. At the same time, we do have OZAROX Sefer, which is trying to be a bit more close. Soulless is now getting dragged up with the space coming in from OZAROX away, but it is still not enough because those connections were not that optimum. Airdrop has been looted by REG's Loxy, which is obviously going to give him the level 3 loot, and along with that, he can actually go with the P90 or some of the gun that you actually get with the drop. So obviously that boost in the meta can actually help a lot.
Exactly, but now the end circle is going to close out. Now the things are really going to be a very interesting one. 22 players remaining, 8 teams surviving. In Team FLUX Esports, only one aim that they have is the winner chicken dinner, because they haven't yet been just rotating in very timely, but also they've been fighting on. Look at this grenade from the side of SBJ, so good to take down the player of the side of Sarki, and yes, he gets down. On the other hand, Team FLUX in not the greatest spot possible. I think this could be a very dominant start. I think this could entirely change the entire equation for the startup team SBJ. He could at least walk away with 2 kills of FLUX, but does he has the numbers advantage is the question. He manages to take down one, but is he good enough to take him down entirely? He has taken a lot of damage to himself, tries himself to get healed up. Only few seconds till the end circle starts up, but the grenade from the side of Frozen of Team MADBULLS just goes miraculous. Cash also gets taken down. There are 3 players getting knocked down, and as I mentioned, Team FLUX just in the worst spot to be at, and just with only 2 players, what a way for the start of Team SBJ. But now it all comes down to Soulless. Soulless finds one. He needs to find another one. It's a 1 versus 1 scenario, and yes, he might get the clutch. Oh no, that's not the case. It's SBJ who comes up on top, takes each and every one of them. It's 4 kills for Team SBJ, and that's a clean elimination for the start of Team FLUX Esports. What a disaster for them. They had 4 players. It was a 4 versus 2 scenario, but little did they have the reach advantage, and that was so well played from the start of Soulless in the end, but not good to finish things apart. 16, 13 players, we found ourselves up in the end circles of the first game here at Erangel.
Alright, so yeah, definitely quite a few teams have been taken down. Now moving forward, we have
Entirely, and I think MADBULLS will also get themselves up with a good advantage. But what a knock that was!
Yeah.
I think he barely shot only 3 bullets out of his M416. Oh man, that is just tremendous stuff from the side of none other than MADBULLS. 9 kills for MADBULLS. The predictions already calls them off as 1/3 of the entire prediction lies in their favor. But let's see, we still have the side of Team SBJ, and they have 3 players. Oh, I didn't know Team SBJ had 3 players, because they played only a 2 versus 4 when they were fighting up against the start of Team FLUX. On the other hand, we also have the side of none other than OZAROX Esports. NXG survives, and Team MS are only 1. So your prediction is still up if you talk about Team MS Esports, but it's just only 1 player. MADBULLS meantime get taken down. Team SBJ has been looking too dominant in the end circles.
Yeah, I mean, for MELISE Esports, the only thing that they are trying to fight with is going to be the placement points. But at the same time, there is SBG, which is trying to be a bit more dominant on teams like MADBULLS, and we can clearly see MADBULLS, after securing 9 amazing eliminations, is now getting targeted from multiple corners, because it is really very important to shut down this particular MADBULL, because if that does not happen, if they are able to secure that chicken dinner with more than 15 points in their favor, that will be huge. And in order to counter that, I guess 1 or 2 matches will pass out where MADBULLS is not unable to perform, and eventually some other team is going to rake up some good points. So definitely MADBULLS is trying to create the burst from the start, and they are working their way up. Another good knockout coming in on SVG's corner. That's Narwalo, who has been taken down. That's quite good, but beyond that particular tree trunk, the 2 players from MADBULLS are stuck. Pilika is now going to heal himself, and the other guy is also trying to perform with some other angles. Let's see how those nades are going to work its way. Another throwable is being utilized. Let's see how far that goes.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting end circle. 12 players remaining, and the end circle now completely going into the favor of Team MADBULLS. Now, Team MADBULLS, they have everything which they could expect in these end circles. They have the advantage, they have the center, but is it going to be good enough? Because now, 1 player, Frozen, is taken down. Oh, the nade might land towards right next to Kokoka, but he still manages to stay alive. Victor, he goes on for another nade. I think reviving Frozen at this spot is such a difficult, position to be at. But at the same time, Team NXS, they are just waiting, playing the zone at this point. 10 seconds till the end circle closes down, and Team SBJ, they're trying to do what they did with the start of Team FLUX Esports. Well, here we go with another knock. This time it's going to be Team MS. Alright, so he is just starting to gain. That is the first blood which he got in his hands. Till now, they were up with only 0 defeats. There was not even a single defeat or a single point. But now, after that, kill being stolen away from the side of none other than Kuda, he gets a good, advantage. But wow, what a knock coming in from the French star. This is indeed going to be another, 7th defeat for him. But now, it's only top 10 players remaining. 5 teams, 10 players. This isn't going to be easy for any teams to walk out with a winner chicken dinner. But somehow, Team MADBULLS, they lose out the numbers advantage. Give it all away towards the start of Team SBJ, and SBJ slowly, steadily have to walk the end towards the zone.
Oh yeah, SPG is now trying to take up the control of the angles that which is actually going to be a bit more troublesome for MADBULLS. But if we talk about Frozen and Tulika, both of them are more than capable to completely shut down this particular team. But the only thing that can backfire is MELISE Esports. Let's see how they're going to play with it, because MELISE Esports is coming up with the nade and putt, gets founded off at the same moment. Another spray comes in. That was a huge 1v1, but finally gets equalized. MADBULLS also being dethroned at this point.
Party.
Yep, it was a third party coming from SPG's perspective, but at the end, SPG with 8 amazing tags, OZAROX with just 2, NEXUS with just one frag at this point. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
troublesome, I believe. But at the end, I really feel like SVG is now having the control at this particular point. But after getting admitted as like fourth position, I still believe 14 points is kind of a decent number of points whenever you see the current point distribution system for MADBULLS.
Exactly, and just look after the players. The Mad Bulls, who had 34% chance to make sure that they get the way with the winner with the chicken dinner, they are the first one to get eliminated out of top 4. It's a 2 versus 2 versus 3 scenarios. BJ, that's the best spot for them to be at. But does the zone favors them? 36 seconds more. They have to slightly move in, but Team NXG, they're at least playing for the hashtag 2 position. Top 3, it's going to be none other than Team SBJ. Then we have the other team, which is going to be OZAROX Esports and Team NXG at the same time. So this Nexus, I think they have a good advantage, and this Nades does the job. As Kenzie gets down, it all comes down towards Storm, and Storm finds himself up in a 1 versus 6. Will he go for the revival? Not the best spot to be at. Oh, look how smart SBG is. He's just, like weighting himself down, but just behind the airdrops, I think it's going to be Storm. Storm goes on for a grenade. Could his grenade do the job? Or the grenade is going to be so impactful. Storm gets some damage towards the start of Odin, but does he manage to take him down? Not yet. DBS comes inside the action. It ain't going to be easy for the start of Storm, and he might as well get taken out by the gun switch. Gun switch is unfortunate, but if you have DBS, so does that Storm, and Storm takes him down with the DBS. You cannot fight him in the close range, but closing down it's going to be none other than SBJ, and the hashtag 2 position is what they have, because the third party comes inside the play, and SBJ is still doing what they are best at, taking each and every one of them down. That's a 10 kills winner chicken dinner in the very first game here at the Ruthless Europe Invitationals. And what a way to start things up if you are SBG. First, the journey started off between them was getting eliminated by one of the players. They had only 3 players since they dropped down towards the Asiana, and I think it was none other than Team Bestas Esports who were just denying them. But after that, they just went all in, especially in these end circles.
Oh yeah, definitely that control. And eventually for some time period, I thought that MADBULLS is going to take up a control onto that particular team. But eventually, yes, MADBULLS, after getting backshot from MELISE Esports and a complete shift of the trade fire was there from SPG as well. But all in all, indeed, the first position is going to fall in the hands of SPG. And yes, they had the damage of 2095. They could have easily secured 20 kills or maybe 16 or 15 kills, but that's amazing. They had a lot of knockouts coming into the play, but if we talk about Narvalu, he was the one who had the highest amount of damage, and eventually the damage taken is also quite amplified. 3 eliminations for him, and knockouts are just 4. If we talk about Victor, he has got 631 of damage. Damage taken is 151, elimination is 2, knockouts is 3. And if we talk about the damage coming into the play, that is 555 from Rob's perspective from SPG, and damage taken is 310, elimination is 5, which is again quite a good statistic. And if we talk about the knockouts, those are 3. But when it comes to Akashi, I'm so fruitful, because obviously he was shut down way too early by the other team known as BESIKTAS. He was in the Yasna Poliana region, which is again quite detrimental for the team. But at the end, they were able to maintain the manpower of 3 men standing. And at the end, you can clearly see after the rotation of 8.8 kilometers, still this particular team was able to survive with the chicken dinner, with that massive amount of utilities that they were using, like 22 days, 26 smokes, and also 2 mollies. That is absolutely amazing. But also what is amazing is OZAROX and FLUX's ability to use that many smokes so that they can create a path into the particular place. And although at the end, eventually FLUX went out way too early, and if I talk about OZAROX, also not a very lengthy battle coming in from the perspective.
Well, let's see what's going to be the head-to-heads. Okay, it's going to be Victor. 2 eliminations. Good, competition when it comes to him. And also Storm being in terms of damage. No assist, but look after the team contributions. I think Team SBJ, they had many players who all together bought so many glory. There were 10 kills, and out of that, he got 2. If you talk about the side of Storm, his team entirely had only 3 kills, if I'm not wrong, and out of that he gets 1. So I mean, still, Victor being at his bad spot, but it's the first game wasn't about all of your individual brilliance. It was about your team getting your team at the top, and whom other than none other than Narvalu, who comes up at the MVP board. 3 eliminations, 815 damage, throwable use of 20. That is some number out there, and that brings the team from French towards the top position. Now, what the score looks like for them? 10 eliminations overall for this team, and I think alongside that, they also had a winner chicken dinner play with all three players surviving, which means at least we're talking 20 points here. But taking a look at the match summary, harsh eliminations is going to be none other than Gross. If he had the harsh eliminations, how is he not the, like I'll say MVP? I mean, that is just tremendous. But I think maybe it's the damage is all that matters. 815 damage,
40%
only for
damage,
3
40%
elimination.
survival time, and immediately 20% elimination. That is the meta for the MVP.
Oh, that's great. And at the same time, let's see what is in for the assists. It's going to be none other than Cage. You have Doran as the highest healing done, and Nox it's going to be Mad. But I think, it's going to be Frozen from Mad. But yeah, as we mentioned, it's going to be a 20-pointer winner finishing in for the startup team SBG. Mad at the same time came out at the top 2 position, 14 total points. What a play from the start of Team FLUX. Yet only for esports, it's gonna be all the way down towards, I think it's the bottom 10 position. But yeah, I think what an amazing start we had. 2 teams being at double digits, the rest all 14 teams still struggling to find themselves up.
But I still believe OZAROX is actually having a decent momentum at this point, because they do have a kind of an idea how they're actually going to perform in the top 3 teams, particularly because they were the one which went out, I believe, at the 2nd position, which is good. But then they had 3 eliminations as well, so overall of 9 points, which was there for OZAROX Esports, might just actually give them the firm grasp of the lobby, because yes, they are lacking behind with 11 points when it comes to the winner chicken team, that is SPG. But still, I believe that due to the current point distribution system, having somewhere around from 10 to 15 points is something every team should actually aim for. But at the end, these are the match stats, which clearly tells us that the last one standing from AR Esports, that was known as Topok, was able to get the longest elimination in the match, and that was of 252 meters. But at the end, if we talk about the headshots, that was just 7. So indeed, we are missing a lot of headshots coming from this particular lobby, because the body shots, the util shots are absolutely amazing. We did saw a lot of utilities being used, and at the end, when you use DBS, you don't aim for the head, you aim for the body, and eventually we do see a lot of DBS pick coming up into the particular match. And eventually also at the later stages, we had a lot of should I say aggressive stuns coming from the TBS. But after a quick short break, we'll get to see a lot more when it comes to the map of Miramar.
Well, once again, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Europe Invitational presented by none other than Ruthless. We are right back. This time, it's going to be the next matchup, which we were really excited for. This is going to be the day number 1, and for the first time, we will head ourselves in to watch the match of Miramar with these 16 teams.
Oh yeah, definitely. As promised, indeed. After a quick short break, we are back. And if I talk about the performance coming from SBG, from MADBULLS, and also from OZAROX esports, it was quite aggressive. We did saw a lot of stance coming from the aggression. But let's go to the schedule so that we can get an idea of what is going to happen today and what happened initially in the initial stage of this particular tournament. So yeah, the first match actually went in the hands of SPG with 10 amazing eliminations points. That means a grand total of 20 points were credited into their accounts, and that is why they are at the top of this particular food chain at this moment. But moving forward, Miramar can change a lot of stuff. So yes, SBG, yes, MADBULLS, yes, some other teams which were actually quite aggressive and quite capable of getting some good points have to be a bit more, should I say, cautious, because yes, Miramar can change a lot of stuff. I would love to see how Miramar is going to change the pace for those teams which are going to be a bit more aggressive. Like, is it going to be aggressive stance once again coming from those teams? How MADBULLS is going to perform? How MELISE is going to attack? Maybe ARR once again is going to start off with some good aggressions, because yes, despite of the fact that ARR went out way too early, but ARR is one of those teams who loves to aggress, who loves to actually come up with some good eliminations point in the favor. That is the only reason why they went out a bit early, because they were trying to aggress. It backfired onto them. But what will happen in the particular map of Miramar? We'll talk about all of those stuff, but let's open up our predictions at this point. For me, I would go for MADBULLS this time. MADBULLS, because yes, we did saw MADBULL being a very aggressive team when it comes to the map of Erangel, and aggression is something which might just save the day in the map of Miramar as well, because we do actually expect a lot of third parties coming up in this map. So yeah, for me, MADBULLS is the team.
I think I'd go with NEXUS Esports. NEXUS Esports were really good at surviving, you know. They had that patience. You cannot hold your nerve in those end circles. And they were so good with the zone. I think they were so good with their circle. And entirely, all of that when it comes together. These are some of the things which is very essential when you draw back towards the map of Miramar. And Miramar is going to be one map where I think Nexus could potentially survive in a very long state. They would play the long game, not the elimination game, which we saw from many other teams. But let's see what the chat has us, as the polls in the YT is going to be up quite soon. So you guys can also vote in. In the very first time, I think all of us went wrong. It was the YouTube chat who went the closest. They went with, none other than FLUX, and then there was Team SBG at the same time. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Miramar is this up next match. We have 4 more matches lined up tonight. So, I'm really going to be excited to see how the 4 matches is going to be maintained from the start of Team SBG. They managed to get themselves up with the very first winner chicken dinner. I do expect them to come up at a very, I'll say tremendous position. But let's see where the overall points also takes them, because there are only 2 teams who have crossed into the double digits. The rest, all the teams lies between 0 to 9 points.
I mean, yeah, indeed, it is really very important for those teams to come up with a pressurizing point. But I really believe like MADBULLS is one of those teams which can come up with some good, decent points in their favor. But at the hindsight, when we talk about teams like MELISE Esports, again, that was a pick for me in the map of Erangel. Is it going to be that easy for them? I would have to see. I would love to see how they're going to perform in the map of Miramar. Obviously, it is full of challenges. It is full of those ups and downs that we were talking about in the initial pick. That was there. So yeah, for me, chasing the fire, getting the winner chicken is not going to be that easy. But at the end, if you are consistent, I believe that's the best part. Even if BESIKTAS esports, even if teams like, I guess, SPG is unable to get multiple chicken dinners, all they can do is just come up with an average of 10 points in every single match. That can actually secure them in the top 3 positions, or maybe in the top 5 at the end. That is the really very important stuff. But yes, at the end, at the last few matches, I believe in the day number 3 or phase number 1, then teams have to approach for, I guess, the top prior positions, or maybe get the chickeners, maybe be in the second position, get some good frags so that they can just maintain their own momentum. Because we have seen quite a few teams dethroning those teams which are being on top from the start. At the end, eventually some other team comes up with some decent points in their favor, with some decent chickeners like 30-pointer or a 25-pointer bomber in their favor in the later stages of the game, in the later stages of the phase. And then eventually that chicken dinner, or maybe should I say that hashtag 1 position in the overall standing, completely changes, and some other team was able to dethrone that particular team which was already reigning on top. So if that happens, it will be absolutely mesmerizing, because as a caster, as an audience, we would love to see those shifts coming in. But for players, for these teams which are representing their own meta, representing their own region, I believe all they have to do is just be consistent for me.
Oh yeah, that's true. But at the same time, now is the time where we are going to be soon diving inside the game. I think the game is going to start pretty much soon. We'll just wait if there's any update, as I think all the players are going to get themselves up. We saw how previously, Team 4 Esports unfortunately were only down to 3 players. So, like, those circumstances are really unfortunate. At the same time, you have the side of, team next RUYA, who went up, Frozen, who went huge, being a demon on that DBS, who came up, such a fascinating gameplay from his side at the same time. Meanwhile, we also have the side of, Backstage Esports, who eventually dropped down alongside Team SVG towards Yasiana. Now, you gotta avoid these early brawls. You gotta avoid these, early drop clashes, because if these early drop clashes do happen in the map like Miramar, there's only very less chance for you to fall back with all your 4 players. Any which ways, one of the players has to, might get themselves up in any sort of, off good positions, and you cannot really anticipate when it comes out to Miramar. There's so many angles to worry about. There's so many reach where you have to care about, and also there's so many instances where you can find yourself up in a very good timing positions. But what's going to be interesting is going to be the play zone at the same time. And when it comes to play zone, we will also wait for the flight path as to how long it takes.
Oh yeah, definitely. That flight path is actually going to orchestrate a lot of things, and after that, the play zone, which is going to come in like 1 or 2 minutes after the flight path comes in, obviously, is going to orchestrate a lot more things. Like, it will tell us how the teams are going to rotate or what type of rotation is needed at that particular point. But yeah, all in all, I am expecting a lot of buzz. I am expecting a lot of fights coming up once again in the map of Miramar. From the back end, we have the call that the game has been started. So moving forward in the second match of this phase number 1 of the Europe Invitational Showdown coming in from Ruthless Esports. What are your expectations for me? I believe MADBULLS could be the one team which is just completely going to teach on a lot of teams, but let's see how far they're going to go.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. But for now, it's the map of Miramar, which we are going to be waiting for. I think Miramar is one of the matches which is really interesting, and it's not just about the map, it's also about how the teams are going to play out. It's 16 teams. When you have like 64 players, when you have every one of them being in a very comfortable spot to find themselves up in any sort of early loot, and then go for the second half of the game, playing the survival, and then playing on for the kills in the later half. That is how it's going to be interesting. But the flight path is going to be right up next, and let's see what the flight path for the second game is going to be, because it's just the day number 1, and already Team SDG are in the lead. Flight path comes in, and we are in the map of Miramar for the first time here at the Ruthless Europe Invitationals. These teams have been really showing some strong firepower, but from the side of Norway, it goes all the way between Impala and Parisio. So teams might get themselves up in any position unless they want to go in towards La Cabria, toward Cruz de Well and even El Azar. But yeah, I think other than that, I think teams are in the most comfortable spot to go in the ideal positions.
I mean, yeah, the flight path is not that edgy, so definitely teams can approach to their favorable location. But definitely, I guess the further region in the northwest city or the northwest east region obviously is going to be a bit more far-fetched. So in order to reach out to those locations, I believe choosing the right vehicles is going to be really very important. But again, if the circle goes in towards like Los Unas, then again the teams would actually have to rotate a lot for to be in the circle. I'm talking about those teams who are trying to approach for Tiara Bunker, maybe the Campo Meta region or Torremada region. I would love to see how that fight actually happens, but eventually all the other teams have decided to just jump in. There are quite a few teams like NEXUS Esports, which is also trying to find their own safe haven, but finally they have heard that idea. Impala could be the place where they're going to jump in, but before that, in the Ruthless Hype Esports Europe Showdown, we do have a fight coming in between the close quarters. Let's see how ARR Esports is going to compete with it.
Oh yes, definitely. I think Team AR, one team to watch out for. But talking about the clashes, I think we do have some team towards San Martin who are going in. There's no one contesting in yet towards the Hacienda. But taking a look after Team AR Esports, they're right next towards MADBULLS and Team AR. Oh, Alan gets spotted. Where is he getting shots from is a big question. No, I think it's not the best page to be at, but wow! That is tremendous. I mean, we were waiting to see the M16 action, and there we go. What a way to start things up. The first blood does come in from the side of Karali, but yet it's going to be, Tilka being up with the Thompson. Thompson, we haven't seen much of these actions. Even though it has so many ammunition, the damage isn't just enough. But what damage is enough? It's going to be the Desert Eagle. And Desert Eagle is going to be used once again. A self-nade, a self-destruction from the start of Team Ford. I know that's going to be unfortunate. Team Mad Bulls, they have dealt the early pressure, but they don't have any intel for them to work in any magic. And this is going to play the timing. And meanwhile, Narol, the MVP of the previous game, takes on Carlos with a melee weapon. And that's going to be yet another damage onto the side of Team Foot.
Yeah, have to see how that actually happens. But 194, again, one of those guns which we do not see that often, but eventually, yes, that's the exact gun MADBULLS is trying to come up with, and they're trying to take a fight on the right hand side. You can clearly see there is another fight coming up in the close vicinities of San Martin, I believe. So let's see how far the fight is going to get stretched. At the same point, we have MADBULLS, Tulika, we have FLUX as well in the scene. And all of these players are trying to come up with a decent fight, but obviously time will come where the exchange of the blow is going to pay them. But at the same time, if we talk about FPG Esports, they are trying to fight with SPG. Remember, guys, all I ask from this team known as SPG is consistency. If they are going to get shut down at this particular earlier stages, I would be actually in a surprise, or maybe should I say in pain at this point. But eventually, all in all, the nades, the throwables, and the utils that were being utilized are actually getting utilized now somewhere else as well. So let's see how far that situation is going to get straight away and how we are going to get balanced out of it. But yet, again, FAD Esports 7 is there with the M1684. And definitely his tap shot can be actually fatal. But before that, look at Robos. He has got the AK and also the S1987, which is again both of those guns which is capable of shutting the whole team down.
I mean, how promising is it be is the big question. But at the same time, Team SBJ, let's see how Team SBJ is going to come out. Gross is just playing the angle game here for esports, are not willing to give anything for Team SBG to work with. Victor, the MVP of the match, #1, is yet again going to be at a very cornered position. 4 minutes inside the entire first zone, and I think both of these teams could play the time here. They don't have anything to worry about. They have entire minutes for themselves. At least for the next 7 minutes, you will have the circle. But what for the esports? They are still giving so much sound. SBJ, they are now going to realize that most of the players are down towards the second and third floor. There's no sort of angle which can be created, but these footsteps are going to be heard. And the nade is going to be tossed off. Steven could be the one who could be the impactful player out of this position. But Kashi, oh, the first knocks comes in. Win finds a big angle, and out of that, Kakashi, it's a big blunder from the side of Kashi, as he is not able to retaliate. Just right next to him, it was Kashi, but oh my god, does Kashi knows that one of the players there? Oh my god, that is unbelievable. Win goes for yet another knock. This time it's gonna be once again the shotguns doing the wonder. Micro Z as well comes inside the play, and Team SBG is down to only one player. Victor to save it for the side of Team SBJ, but for esports, 1 versus 2. Not the worst position for them, but wait a minute, Victor wants each and every one of those kills, gets a revival, win in a 1 versus 2. Let's see if this 1v2 could really work on. Shotguns versus shotguns. One jump shot could do the job. But oh, he's going to be spotted at the pre-fire is still good. One shot being connected. Win gets one. But look, after the HP, the SP is so bad. And this is going to be unfortunate. The nade could right land next to him. And that's what is going to be the nade. The nade comes in. And that decides the fate of Foot Esports in the map of Miramar. And Team SBG managed to stay alive just in the skin of the teeth. I think Kakashi could not be able to survive. Or will it be? It's going to be a big question. I don't think that he has much time. But hopefully he does. Team SBJ does manage to stay alive. But what a game. What a way to start for them. The team being at the #1 position, yet proving themselves up. That it's not just the zone, not just their luck, but it's their individual performance which went so impactful.
Oh yeah, SPG after that kind of domination obviously is going to put a lot of pressure onto the teams which were unable to confront them like FAD. So again, one of those giants which is actually known for their strategies, which is known for their I guess aggression as well, but I really believe quite a few teams are hiding their strategies in the initial stages of the tournament, and they will showcase their talent, particularly in the phase #1, I believe the end, besides or maybe phase #2's end. But let's see how far that actually situation goes on. But all in all, Esports, they're also trying to come up with a rotation. We have FLUX also trying to rotate, and in front of them we had AR, I believe. So there could have been a fight, but eventually every single team is just trying to avoid all of those subs, because we already know, even if a fight comes in, there is going to be a loss from both the particular teams, be it the utilities, be it the nades, or be it the life loss that actually can happen. FLUX Esports, we have got Kesh with the 3 nades and 3 smokes in his favor with 2 first tickets. So definitely he's trying to now lurk in the shadow and hunt down 1 or 2 players.
Exactly, but at the same time, 57 players alive. One of the only one team, it's Team Foot, who like get eliminated at the early stage. So it's not the most ideal stage for them. But as BG, I think this level of confidence could really put themselves in at least at the top 5 positions after the end of the game. I think this Miramar could really go tremendous. But let's take a look after how Team Nexus are going to be up. I think Team Nexus, they love to play these circles. Team NR also has all of the players up. RUYA Esports at the same time, 6 total points for them, and MADBULLS up at the top 2. So I think it's only MADBULLS and Team SBG yet in the top 2 with the double digits. But let's take a look after the side of REGNUM CARYA. REGNUM CARYA Tron, he's expecting a player to be inside the warehouse. I think he's just too cautious with his loads. At the same time, might spot 2 of the players, but that's not the ideal position for him to be at. Just look behind him. The 2 teams, which is going to be from the start of Team FLUX Esports, who are right behind him, and they could deal so much damage onto him. But the first circle is going to end up, and now team none other than, I believe it's going to be BESIKTAS Esports, who are yet out of the circle. Team Nexus also have to come in, and the zone all the way goes in towards the southern Chimachera, Picado region, and some outskirts of Los Leones. So that's going to be the end circle, and I think it's going to be an interesting one if it goes in the eastern side of Chimachera, because there you have mud circles, you have your compounds, but the riches is going to force teams to make sure that they go on for the fight. Surviving isn't going to be an easy task, but hey, you're going to get a hell lot of entertainment. But MADBULLS now rotating in from the northern side of the entire equation, where they might find themselves up right next to RUYA. Next RUYA at the same time, Yikt go up. Oh, what an airdrop. I think it's just in between of none other than Oxy. So let's see how he is going to pan out. But there we go. I think, Yekta go up is right up towards the side of Swan. There's a nade right on his hand. Let's see if Swan could manage to take him down. The rotations have been called off, but Yekta is in a very tough spot. He needs that, like backup from his team, or else it wouldn't be the most ideal one for him.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if the backer comes in, if the manpower is there, if the cavalry is there, definitely I believe at that point, fights could be there and they can actually equalize a lot of sense. But Sky Europe on the other corner is left with the last 2 players, and there we go. One good player reflected, won't be able to reflect anything at this point because he's about to get shut down. BESIKTAS on the other corner have to rotate in the particular circle because obviously the zone damage is going to be maximizing pretty soon. Very soon we'll get to see the third zone spark up as well. Next on the other corner is also pretty much outside the particular play circle. BESIKTAS is also outside the particular play circle, and eventually the last play that is there surviving, Slayer. He's also pretty much outside the particular circle. Let's see how far he's going to get here and what kind of impact he's going to come up with. At the same time, if we talk about MADBULLS, after taking the control of some initial picks in the, I believe, San Martin region, now they're trying to actually be a bit more passive because they already know they made that particular mistake of being over aggressive and over exhausting in the previous matchup, and that's how the other guy was able to confront them. So this time, conserving that particular momentum is going to be really very important. Now, another lead goes in. It could have been a close one. I could have been the best guy in the particular scenario, but eventually at the end, yes, the confirmation is not there and they have found some other guy. At the same time, we have OZAROX trying to fight and also get some good points, which is absolutely amazing. But OZAROX's Sephir has been taken down. Cyrope has been eliminated at 16 positions. That means 0 single points and 0 position points for the team.
Yup, and at the same time, 53 players alive. Yet another team who, manages to find themselves up in a tough spot. It's going to be Team SLY Europe. But that's not the end of the world. Meanwhile, Team MS, a good knock coming in. Major Pride has to survive it. I think they were indeed the first team in the previous game to get taken down. They have to somehow, regain the confidence. They have to regain the points which were being lost in the previous one. From the start of Los Leones, it's going to be a big struggle for them to get themselves back in towards the end circles. But there we go. Chimachera and some eastern zones being inside the circle, and Team FF, I love the way they are positioning all the way towards center. Team Nexus also has to come in at the earliest spot possible. Meanwhile, if you take a look after the start of Team MAD, they are inside the circle, but who are not is going to be Team SBJ. But the knock comes in through from the start of Team XRK, and that's going to be a big knock. That puts them down in the I think only one player surviving from the start of Oxy. There we go once again, excuse me. in a very comfortable position to take down all the players, and that's a vehicle blast which takes down 2 players. It's going to be perfect. His skill gets confirmed. I think this is going to be a really tough spot for this out of Team MP, and Major Pride will get taken down. Just as we were mentioning about them, that it's going to be an important matchup for them. In the previous game, they got down as the first team being eliminated, and right now, right again, they get themselves down with 0 points. 2 games over, and Team Major Pride is the only team none of the points been acquired. So that's not the ideal start, especially when 2 games are over. But FLUX, he gets taken down from the side of Wild. There's yet another player who is just right behind him, so Havoc. He might not be in the best spot for him to revive the players, but I think the knock onto the Wild is inevitable, and Wild as well gets taken down. There's only one player to back himself up, and Team REGNUM is going on for the, 3 versus 4 disadvantage fight.
Yep, at the same point, I believe the pressure is there. But that was a good spray coming in from the guys from RG, and with that particular pick, definitely the pressure is now falling in the hands of RG's perspective. And yes, they are getting some good picks. REGNUM, CARYA, yeah, that was a good opening. But after that particular pick, yes, the Wildcat has been taken down. So obviously that revival is going to be quite crucial. I would have to see how far that revival is going to go and what kind of importance REGNUM is going to get out of this particular fight, but at the same time, they are trying to put some pressures. But while while 777K is already back in the meta, that's good. The revival is done. He's going to fight back very soon. But MADBULLS on the other corner is also serving with the full manpower, so that could actually create a lot of buzz in the lobby. So let's see how far they're going to go as well. At the same time, Bryce was also there. MELISE is there with the full manpower. Even NR, or should I say, RUYA is actually there with the full manpower. I would love to see how far they're going to go. But NEXUS, like, a good play in the previous battle, but in this one, they have to become more than aggressive and be a little bit more calculative over the points as well.
Exactly, but at the same time, let's see how the nade is going to be impacting Team NEXUS. They have the reach advantage, they have all the 4 players remaining, but do they have the first blood in their favor? Oh, yes, they do. The nade lands right next to QO, and the knock as well. Kapala down to only 5 HP. Not just to take down the knock, but the retaliation comes in through in the very nick of the time. And now Dizzy is still looking for more options. Kapala is so confident enough. Unfortunate for him that he doesn't have HP, but he's not even going on for what? He's not even choosing to get a first aid. What is this player up to? The confidence level onto him is just at the next level. But now he realizes from a team call. Meanwhile, Tsune finds an important one. It's gonna be Octavian MVP who gets taken down. That was the fight which Team NEXUS needed, and with him being taken down, I think Team NEXUS will definitely find themselves up in a very tough spot. Tixi, 1 versus 2 for him. Vector in his hands. Let's see if the Vector can do some wonders, but he gets thrown down at a very unfortunate position. It all comes down to only one player from the side of Team GX. Let's see if they could really come up with some good advantage. 1 versus 2, the nade doing some damage. There's another nade being tossed up. Kapala might be just the victim of it, but he still manages to survive. There's no nade into the hands of victim, and now NEXUS has to make sure that if they fight, they don't go for these individual fight. These 1 versus 1 duels could be very devastating, especially knowing that Kitsune finds the first blood and instantly takes him down. He's not going to think twice before getting a knock and a finish, but Kitsune wants to fall back, and that is the smartest decision he could have thought for his team. Let's see if he could be that savior for the side of Gaming Gladiators in this match.
Yep, but Gaming Gladiators now have to actually fall back, and you can clearly see Kitsune is actually very at a very low HP, but still he retaliates. That was huge. I mean, that kind of rotation I was not even expecting at that particular point, but eventually we have an arm shot coming into the play, and that is from OZAROX onto the guys from MADBULLS, which is absolutely impressive as well. Some more mollies coming to the play, but another spray that is huge. But finally, it's NEXUS which is going to survive after losing one good player out of the situation. I believe NEXUS isn't going to survive the effort of what Gaming Gladiators went out way too early, just like the previous matchup. So obviously, that particular loss is going to create a lot of pressure on Gaming Gladiators meta. In the previous matchup, they had 3 points. In this one, they have just 1 single point in their favor, which is again quite surprising for me, because a team of which has the stature of Gaming Gladiators, I really expected a lot from their particular perspective. But MADBULLS on the other corner is now trying to be a bit more aggressive. But OZAROX finally goes out of the equation, because yes, the last one standing of OZAROX is already eliminated.
Well, 38 players, 11 teams. Let's see how this pans out. Team SBG still surviving. Mad at the same time. I think they're down to 3 players. Oh, at the same time, NEXUS. Kapala gets taken down. I mean, Team NEXUS, they had that numbers advantage, but now out of that, down to only two players. Team Mad Bulls at the same time, they've lost lead. They also have only three players. So I think majority of the teams who are with the numbers advantage, this game could surely go in their favor. You talk about BRIZEPOOL, you talk about Team MS, you talk about none other than Team FLUX, BJK, Team NR, Team REG. I think, REGNUM Cry Esports would be one of those teams could really get in a very promising position, but Nexus Esports are just getting spammed up. The pre-fires, the smoke spams are just being inevitable. And with that, I think it's a tough spot for them to, just find themselves out. Car 98 being not at the very accurate position, but they choose a pickup truck to go away. And is that the most promising one? Well, he runs out of bullet, and they actually manage to survive for this long. That indeed is going to be tremendous, but that's not going to be for so long. Team Nexus fall down at the 11th spot, and so does my prediction. But hey, that lays up for eliminations. We find ourselves up with the top 10 teams, and these 10 teams, it's going to be none other than Team Mad, like Bulls, who have only two players. We have the side of Team NR. We have Team SBG up with three players. We have Team Bry Esports with all the players just contesting in for the mid circles, and then just right next to them, it's going to be BESIKTAS Esports.
I would have to say how BESIKTAS is going to take the control over it, because we do see FLUX also coming up with a close vicinity, but we are left with just 10 teams and 35 players. I mean, the thing that I was expecting in the map of Angle was a decent play in the initial second, and then eventually a very aggressive stance in the later stages. But seems like that all of those things are going to be there in the map of Miramar, because yes, eventually the initial stages were a bit more calculated by every single team, and right now they're trying to be a bit more aggressive, because obviously the smaller circle are going to push them close to each other. But look at that, XUS's guys are trying to shut down Excuse Me, and they were able to do that quite swiftly. In the previous matchup, I believe Excuse Me had a very low amount of point. They were surviving somewhere around at the later stages of the game, and that's exactly what happened in this particular matchup. But ARIs was on the other corner. What they have is the aggression, and that's why they're trying to hunt down players. But obviously, survival is not that much. So obviously, they have to, I guess, safeguard themselves before being aggressive, because before fighting with their own, or should I say, with their similar meta at this point. But moving forward, yes, two other flanks coming in. It's REG and some of the team trying to actually get the advantage out of it, which is XQSME. I would love to see how far Excuse Me is going to perform, how much of a point Excuse Me is going to get. But at the same time, they have got the church advantage, because it can actually give them the eagle eye perspective. Every single rotation that is going to happen close by is actually going to get noted by this particular team, so that they can easily set up the trap or maybe just shoot them down.
Oh yeah, I think Team MS Esports might get pinned down so easily. Team Excuse Me. All the four players are right here, but what they don't have is the play circle. And in order to get inside the play circle, now they have to draw themselves down towards a big disadvantage. And all the teams are just going to get the center of attention, but it is VG. The timing is so bad. He has a nade in his hand. He has nowhere to put it, but still manages to deal with some damage. What a backup from his team. He tosses up the DBS, but not good for any. It's going to be Team RUYA who gets the first point of advantage. And meantime, what Team SBG does by that, they get eliminated. Just a blink of an eye, and that's a flank from the side of Z-Wolf. The Wolf flank was inevitable, and Team SBG, they get eliminated at the 10th spot. Only 4 points in the second game. But will they? I think it's very, unfortunate for them to be the number one team in the previous game, not look after the Molly. The Molly is so perfect, and they take him down through a Molly. It's going to be Team ARR Esports who fall down with only 0 point. 9th position for them, but with no defeats, with no eliminations. Little do they know that this game is going to be all for nothing. And that's going to be yet another instance where you could see that Team REGNUM CARYA is going in a good advantage. Let's see where they find themselves up. Red Bulls just right in front of them. We have the side of Team Reg at the same time, but let's see if Team MADBULLS could really manage to keep themselves alive. The zone is going to close it, and it's a very slow circle, not the most, I'll say hardships one, but hey, that still gives a lot of advantage towards the side of Team BJK at the same time Roy Esports.
Yeah, I mean, they have the control, they have the central control, but I would love to add on one more fact that in the map of Miramar, usually players have to actually play on the edges, because if you are actually holding a central compound, you become the center of attraction. That can again happen to BESIKTAS Esports and some of the team which are trying to become the center of attraction at this point, or trying to get those angles in their favor. But at the same time, we have REG, REGNUM CARYA trying to fight back, trying to get some good points. I would love to see how far these guys are going to go, because Bigatron, Red Devils, BGRs, players are also trying to play and perform and get the bullets in their favor. Finally, Tron has been taken out. It's MADBULLS Tulika who has been picked off. I would not see how Tulika is going to go from this particular battle till the end. But yes, REGNUM CARYA is now trying to push back, is now trying to put a lot of pressure. That need was actually a close one, but Frozen, will he be able to find one? I really believe that, but Lucy, Doxy, or whatever the name is also trying to be a bit more crazy. And yeah, there we go. Doxy finds one more. But that MADBULLS is about to get completely shut down. I would love to see how far MADBULLS is going to come up because the last man standing is already getting pressurized and gone.
Oh wow, what an angle, man. Tron was expecting him to get out there. And just the moment, like REGNUM CARYA goes out, he takes him down. That leaves him in a one versus, only 6 teams were next to him. But another elimination. I think he does has the numbers advantage. Only one player, Wild, is going to be the one who will be in the spectator slot. But out of all the players, I think this team is really looking, really promising. I think Team REGNUM CARYA Esports, they are at just a position where they could easily find themselves inside the zone. But BESIKTAS Esports, they now realize that there's another team and you got to clear your backs. And just as Enjoy Flower backs in, it's going to be REGNUM CARYA who takes him down. Oh, that's an unfortunate knock for him. Wolf, meantime, also gets taken down, and that's going to be Machine. He takes down Crokep, so I think now it's a big disadvantage if you are the side. None other than, Team BESIKTAS Esports, but still, 2 players down to only 5 HP. CARYA, they need to find them some cover, and that's not the most ideal for them. I think this could be a very big advantage if you are Team BESIKTAS Esports. On the other hand, the game, it's going to be next RUYA who take each and every one. It's 8 games already for them. Oh, this team is totally going in a domination mode. And RUYA Esports are the one being victim of it. There comes another, he lands another headshot, but I don't know if that was a knock. He does not manage to take the, player off, but nonetheless, RUYA Esports are down to only one player. And in a 1 versus 4, I think the only way for him to get his team the most value out of Miramar is to survive right now.
Yep, survival is going to be the key to success at this point because yes, you are actually on the edges. But another good day comes in with that. Excuse me, has been excused once again out of the equation on this particular lobby. Now we are left with just 6 teams, I believe, and some of the players that are there. RUYA Esports Elvis has actually knocked out in a very abundant basis. So obviously, even if Sirkali wants to actually go ahead and get the revival done, I believe Team NRX is just going to completely shut him down as a revenge fight at this point. But MELISE on the other corner, once again with the full manpower, is going to go and take the control of the edges that are there on the western flanks, which is obviously going to increment a lot of teams which are struggling with the utils favor in their favor. At the end, REGNUM CARYA is one of those teams which have actually shown their strengths in the initial battles as well. I would love to see how BESIKTAS members are going to enact with that particular statement. Obviously, it's not that easy to actually get the loans out of the equation, but BESIKTAS once again gets a beautiful pick. And with that amazing opening, I can clearly see that things can change rapidly. BESIKTAS, BJK, Zissy is going to be the guy who is going to get the shots down. Okay, one more pick and that's it. 5 amazing eliminations, and with that, a beautiful domination coming from BESIKTAS.
Oh, I mean, that is just the advantage with the heart of the zone. And as I mentioned, REGNUM CARYA, they might have the numbers advantage, but them being totally out in the open wasn't the best spot. But what a way to get the headshot for the side of none other than RUYA. They are just on a rampage. 10 eliminations for them. 4 versus 4 versus 4 versus 4. All 4 teams surviving are going to be up with the numbers advantage, and it is such an equivalent position for each and every one of them. Let's see which team will walk away with the second winner of our chicken dinner for today, as this is going to be the first time we watch the teams in the map of Miramar. I know it's been a big race, but airdrop is being taken away from the side of Dokkan Machine. Meantime, Team MELISE Esports, just about them, it's going to be Team NEXUS RUYA. And wow, what a knock. The first knock could have potentially came in, but just in the nick of the time, Dokkan Machine falls back. Meantime, there's another knock. This time it's going to be Team MR, but what a way to push in. DBS once again comes inside the play. Bodies fall in the favor of Team NEXUS, and at the same time, the third party comes in. That's the first team elimination. FLUX Esports gets taken down, but there are only 2 teams surviving. Somewhere down the line, the third parties are the one who wins, and Malicious Esports are the one who were dominating, but not for too long. The kill feed just ran against them. Next, RUYA up with the big, I'll say elimination of 11, but only good for the 4th spot. Now it's going to be down to only 2 teams. It's going to be FLUX going up against the side of team BESIKTAS Esports, and BESIKTAS Esports are only having one player. Enjoy has to do all the heavy lifting. 1 versus 3, finds one, looking for another one. Enjoy gets taken down, but is the player who is only single player surviving going to go to his POV? Because both of the player from the side of BESIKTAS Esports is going to be knocked off. The revival is coming in. It's going to be none other than Soul HP. 1 versus 3, the revival comes in, which makes it a 1 versus 4. And still, I mean, I'm glad to see that still there's a 25% chance for the side of team BESIKTAS Esports to win.
It is actually getting diminished quite drastically because look at that, 78% of the advantage is already in the hands of FLUX. But yeah, at the end, FLUX Esports is able to just completely shut down the team known as BESIKTAS Esports, and a beautiful chicken indeed coming to the play. But guys, is it enough to dethrone the particular team known as SBG? I really doubt that. But yes, it is kind of a decent formation coming in from the particular guys. And with this kind of performance, obviously the overall performance, or should I say overall situation in the leaderboard, is obviously going to increase a lot.
Oh, surely, but the winner of a chicken dinner belongs to this team, and they were indeed so dominant in the end circles. I mean, there were many teams. I think next RUYA also impressed us with, you know, so many dominations. But like, what a way to start things off. And with that, I think we'd wait to see what the MVP looks like. It's a 9 elimination chicken dinner, which means 19 total points for this team. But alongside that, you know, you're gonna give it up towards the side of team BESIKTAS Esports at the same time. Like, they were really looking good. But FLUX Esports, finally, the chart predicted, I think, you know, team FLUX Esports, and indeed they are the one who happened to come up on top. So you gotta give that 1 point towards the chart at the same time. Really, really tremendous play. You have the side of Soulless, you have Cage, Soulkey, and Lutz, but the elimination from the side of Cage is what is really tremendous, and the damage done from the side of Soulless, that's just way better. Second game of the day, and that was just an amazing way to kick off the day for the side of team FLUX. In the previous game also, I think they had some good numbers, so they might as well be able to regain the #1 spot if I'm not wrong, and team SBJ might be the one who will get a little down. But yeah, I mean, what do you have to say about this team?
I mean, yes, for me, I really believe FLUX is going to just match up the first position in their favor. But at the end, I would have to see the right usage of the locations was absolutely amazing, because you can clearly see FLUX was able to, I guess, be in the circle comparatively easily when it comes to their rotation, because they were able to cut up a rotation of 4.5 kilometers. That's all. Utilities usage is also not that much. Eventually, FLUX Esports was trying to be a bit more sneaky when it comes to their play, and eventually at the last few matches, at the last few fights, at that particular moment, I believe it was Team FLUX Esports which was able to take the advantage on Team NR and VJK as well. MELISE Esports on the other corner once again fails to surprise us, because yes, they are in the top 4 just like the previous matchup, but still not enough to come really shut down with a lot of perspective. But if I talk about the utils being used, that was coming from X-Star. That is amazing. 23 utils to be precise. But let's talk about the MVP. That is going to be REG's Loxy, guys. Remember, once again, I would love to remind all of you which are new, or maybe just get this fact right, that we at RUTHLESS Esports decide the MVP by the 40% damage and 40% survival rate, and eventually 20% elimination as well. So in that particular method, definitely you can clearly check out what kind of impact, what kind of DK is there. But at the end, MVP is the guy known as REG's Loxy. I would have to see how far they can go.
Oh, surely, Team FLUX, what a way to retrieve themselves back in with these advantages. And I think alongside this, we'd love to see how the entire scorecard eventually even pans out. Because Frozen, he for the second time, I think he manages to find himself up at the top position. 1 grenade kill. If you talk about the longest elimination, it was none other than RTR P7. With at least 10 kilometers being traveled. I mean, that is a tough spot, right? If like you play in Miramar, you gotta have these like, you know, rotational vehicles. But nonetheless, now let's see what the overall standing kind of looks like, because this is that one, you know, like situation which happens to be pretty important, which happens to be a lot, as it does matter, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world for all the other teams as well. I mean, you know, I love to see how Team MADBULLS are going to show those, you know, firepower. Major Pride, I'm just, you know, kind of like very unfortunate for them, as they are still down towards the 0-point mark. But hey, finally, the winner chicken dinner, another map, another team, and this time it's gonna be Team FLUX, Team NR, which was none other than Team, you know, next RUYA. They are up at the 2nd spot. This time they had the numbers advantage. BESIKTAS Esports with some good, you know, retrieve back. They at least 5 teams to 7 who are all the way up in the double digits. But yeah, bro, esports with 4, Team GG with 1, Oxo with only 1. For esports, yes, struggling bottom in the bottom 5 positions. But with that, let's take a look after the match stats. It's going to be 9,892 of total healing. That is just tremendous. 10 headshots, 70 knockouts, 59 eliminations, 224 throwables, and only 25 rescues out of the 64 players.
At the same time, if we go MELISE esports, we have a giant known as CARYA, which was able to get the longest elevation, which is absolutely amazing. It's with 305 meters. That's a huge distance to cover up with the scopes that are actually going to be there in the particular map of Myanmar. But moving forward, definitely the next one will be Wrangle. And at that particular point, we might see some more shifts. But overall rankings are here, and 5 country scores are still on the top, with 2 matches being played and a second in their favor. They have 26 amazing points on the hindsight when it comes to SPG, despite of the fact that they were able to get their first win over a second era. But right now, they are struggling with the whole advantage out of it. BESIKTAS on the other corner is also stuck at the 3rd position. Same goes for MADBULLS. They have the similar amount of points, although MADBULLS is actually getting dethroned from the 2nd position to the 4th position, I believe. And at the hindsight, we have next RUYA with 19 points, MELISE with 16 as well, REGNUM CARYA with the 13, NEXUS Gaming with 11. Let's move on to the second page so that we can have an idea of how much of an impact is there on the particular second page and how much of a buffer is there between the second page and the first one. Because remember, guys, 26 points is the table topper, and Major Pride stuck at 0. They have to gather 26 points, and it is, I guess, kind of capable when you just play 2 matches.
Exactly, and I think Excuse Me came up with a good, crawling their way back up towards the top 11 position. Major prize still with 0 for esports, 1, 2 for the start of Lee, Europe, and AR esports at the same time. Only on the back of those eliminations that they got. GAIMIN Gladiators as well hasn't yet got the best start for them. But I mean, hey, this is just 2 games. We have 3 more games remaining at the day 1, and I think it's gonna be a long day. But how about before that, we'll be taking a quick short break. As this break falls off, we'll be going on next towards the map of Wrangle. Wrangle is gonna be up next, so you guys stay around with us as we'll be right back.
I guess we are excited, no doubt on that. Yeah. Welcome, guys, to the Ruthless IP Sports. And at this point, I believe we are watching the phase one of the Europe Invitational Tournament that is actually happening. So, yeah, definitely, I guess a lot of excitement is there. A lot of shifts when it comes to the meta is also coming in. We have two beautiful teams which have acquired a beautiful chicken. And I believe in the first match, we had SPG with 20 points. In the second one, we had FLUX and three more matches for the day to be precise. But before all of that stuff happens, we'll look at the schedule. We'll have a look at the schedule, and you can clearly see SPG was able to conquer the first map, and eventually the second one was in the hands of Fireflux Esports with 19 points altogether when we compromise the eliminations and also the placement points that was there. And moving forward, the match number 3 is going to be in the map of Erangel, and again we have a Miramar and then Erangel. So that means two more opportunities for those amazing teams which are quite lovely when it comes to the map of Erangel, and just a single opportunity for that particular team who loves to perform in the map of Miramar. I would have to see how far that situation goes on, because you guys remember MADBULLS was quite aggressive in the map of I guess
Yeah.
Erangel, but eventually when it comes to the map of Miramar, things were not that comfortable for the team. Same goes for MELISE Esports. MELISE once again was able to find their way in the top 4. But yes, moving forward to the predictions, Afcon, what do you think? Which team is going to get the chicken in this one?
I think out of what we saw in the previous one, GAIMIN Gladiators might, like as in walk away with it. I'm, really wanting them to step up. But what are your thoughts on the predictions?
That's a tough question, but yeah, I would actually go for maybe MADBULLS again. Yeah, for me, MADBULLS is the team.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I think both of teams didn't have the most ideal start. I think they are really struggling in the second page of this. So Mad Bulls from the side of Radar, and if you ask me, I am definitely loving to go with GAIMIN Gladiators. So what is going to be in from the chat? Because I think in the previous game, chat happened to be the one who went up glorious, analyzing the side of team Fireflux Esports, who won a 19-pointer winner with a chicken dinner. Previously to that, it was Team SBG, who just lost in a very unfortunate position. I think one more team which was like really looking promising was indeed the side of Slee Europe, but they got gatekeep from the side of a team BESIKTAS Esports, and that's how they ended up at the #2 position as well. But that was a very high scoring game. But when it comes down to Erangel, it always comes down to these one-sided plays. The team with the most number of domination, if luckily they survive with their numbers advantage, or if they're 4-man standing, they are surely winning the winner chicken dinner. Any team with low kill points eventually gets even low placement point. So when it comes down to Erangel, you initiating those fights are a very important task to deal with. And let's see which team might really go in all in aggressive. Because so far, only 2-3 teams which we have seen in double digits, it's going to be none other than next RUYA, who had 11 eliminations in the previous game, and it was Team SBG, who had 10 elimination in the first map. Other than these two teams, we are still waiting to see what the other teams have got in terms of the elimination or dominations.
I believe, like in the later stages of this phase 1 or even phase 2, we will see a lot of aggressive stance coming from multiple teams which are unable to perform right now, because obviously they will be able to do their homeworks after the day gets passed, after the 5 matches are over. They will be able to learn the strategy from the other team. Counterattacks are actually quite crucial, so definitely have to see how these teams particularly are going to come up with that. All in all, I guess the game has been started, so eventually we are going to just maybe anticipate where the flight path is going to come from. So for me, again, a diagonal flight path is what I'm actually waiting for. But yes, my favorite location where the teams would actually jump in, I would love to see a Sosnoka military base island type of circle coming in. That will be the place one for me. That's what I'm expecting, and if that happens, it will be mesmerizing.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Erangel is going to be for the second last time. We'll be seeing indeed for the second as well. First time when we saw there was some drop clashes, I think it was Team SBG who had a clash up with the side of BESIKTAS Esports. So now, once again, the Asiana, will it be the same fight which we see earlier? We'll see most of the cases. But yeah, as you mentioned about the plane path, I think it should be a little bit between, the containers. It should be all the way towards Noya, all the way up towards Nopool. I think that should be one of the most ideal plane path. Very less team contested in, towards military base. And that is something where I really believe that if the circle heads over to, it's going to be a big challenge for all of the, all of these teams. At the same time, Ferry Pair also happened to be a big nightmare, as we saw some great DBS clutch from the side of Rosen on the back of his 1 versus 4 clutch. And I think the only team which was the victim of it was none other than Major Pride. I think there was even a clash all the way towards Georgetown City. So there were many clashes, Ferry Pair, Georgetown City, you name it, and teams have it there. But some peaceful, like places, I think School, Rozhok, Pochinki, even if we talk about Prismok, Lipovka, these are the places where teams could really contest it. We had CFU, Kameshki being entirely open. There was one team, which was Team ARR Esports, who wanted to go all the way towards the northwestern of the Zarki, shooting range position. So teams are really starting things slow, but they do realize these elimination points are the one which will get them top in the leaderboard.
I mean, yeah, definitely they have to get some good eliminations along with that. They have to get some decent placement points as well. Being in the top three when it comes to the placement points is going to be a little bit more advantageous because obviously surviving at 7th, 8th, or even 6th position is not going to get you as many points because obviously with just 2 frags you can compensate that. Obviously, elimination is going to be a big part of the match, and I would love to see how eliminations is going to play the role because emphasize is actually done. We have emphasized a lot of time that there are certain amount of teams, there are certain number of teams which are quite aggressive, which are getting some good points in their favor. Like BESIKTAS is there. We have MADBULLS also trying to performing the way. Even MELISE is also trying to be in the top 3, although they're not that aggressive, but they are opportunistic. They know how to sneak in when it comes to their zone rotations, and that's good. But moving forward, yes, in just 20 seconds, we'll get to see a beautiful flight path. So my anticipation is once again going to be a diagonal one, but I would love to see the drop coming up in the military-based region because if that happens, obviously teams can just jump in, get the goodies, and eventually rotate back to the formation. But moving up, guys, remember, Erangel is the map. In this particular Ruthless Europe Invitational Showdown, Erangel is the third map, or Erangel is the first map of this particular match number 3 of phase number 1. But yeah, the flight path is starting, and it is starting from a very decent location of Severny shooting range, and it is touching the Novo Ripnoi, I believe.
I think the one which could be the best diagonal indeed, but a little slighter. I think teams could any which ways goes all towards Sosnovka Island. And only challenges for the teams to go up towards Ferry Pair, towards Query, Prismok, even all the way towards the Western Gitkas position. But let's see how things are eventually going to go out. The meantime, if you talk about the side of, like Team Nexus, it's a very important game for them. If this is not the game they capitalize, it's going to be a little difficult. But at the same time, we are seeing Team Major Pride once again going in for the Western position. Let's see where their drop position comes in. No one towards Pochinki. And SBJ, I think, still are going to contest in towards Osnovka, towards Yasiana. Alongside them, it's going to be Team BESIKTAS Esports. MS, meantime, going in towards Shelter, Team NR, which is going to be none other than next to RUYA, counting the options in towards the farm. So no drop clashes quite yet. MADBULLS being towards Rozhok, and only one team, which is towards the Sada School, find themselves up in the fight. And now it's going to be Team FLUX Esports, who are going to be fighting. There are 2 teams who will compete up against each other. Now it's the Georgetown Containers, which is going to be the brawl. Major Pride once again, it's going to be Nomi with the VSS and not the ideal weapon, but AK in the hands of Tron. Tron gets taken down, and that's a team elimination already. It's over even before it could start. And Team REGNUM CARYA, they are the one who gets eliminated. Meantime, I think Team FLUX as well in a very tough spot as they find themselves up at the crosshairs of Team XQ. Team FLUX have to retrieve. They have to find themselves some loot. And with all of that, they have to retrieve the 2 players, the 2 fallen players. They have that 1 knock finish. So that's really going to annoy the Sada team, as they will make sure that they get themselves up with a knock finish. But now it's only 1 player remaining. Furia, VSS being tremendous up with him. But with only 3 players, it's going to be a difficult one, and FLUX is going to be eliminated. That's going to be Furia, who did most of the heavy lifting there. And with that, it's going to be Beck with the 2 eliminations. It's a team elimination for the start of FLUX, and 2 of the teams have already got eliminated. I mean, we're talking about the drop clashes, and already things have been looking not that great. 14 teams more surviving. There's another first knock. This time it's going to be Team SBJ, who has chosen themselves to go fight up against Team BESIKTAS Esports, because for the second time they gave a fight. I think previous time it was a peaceful, knockout. Both of the players went 3-3. 1-1 casualty from each side, but this time there are 3 bloods into the hands of Team SBG, and there's only 1 player who manages to sneak out of Yasiana. 45 seconds more, and the first zone is gonna start to close in. Let's see how things goes. Nexus will get himself up in a buggy. Team Nexus Gaming, They have 4 players, but the place where they have been looting at, all the way towards the Milta region, it's not the most best case positions for them. Entirely, when you look after these, positions, the loot is what really puts you in a compromising state. At least if you want an ideal loot for all the 4 players, you would need that entire factory for yourself. Alongside factory, the Milta power to get yourself the best loot, and some compounds, some luck to get some assault rifles as well. Mostly, I think playing with the SMGs in the first half of the game isn't the worst choice. But hey, UMP45 and DBS are quite in a meta to make sure that you get yourself up in a very great advantage. Now Kashi knows that there's only one player, but SBJ, they're not really concerned about that one single player, even though realizing that there are 4 players, it could really be a knock finish entirely for them. But they're still playing the time here. MELISE Esports, previous match, it was unfortunate. It was completely a 4 versus 4 versus 4, and 4 teams having all the players alive, yet them being the first one to be, the victim of the end circle fight, it was kind of unfortunate. But RTR at the same time moves up towards the farm position, and that's where I think the first zone is heading. So I think the first zone, which has already started to close on, let's see how things entirely goes out, because it's going to be towards the central eastern side. So all the Gutka, Georgepool, and Prismark is going to be cut off. Lipovka, Milta still being inside the equation, and the only team which is enjoying the most S-tier loot possible is going to be Team OZAROX Esports. They have the entire Novoripno, they have the entire Sovka military island, and I mean that's enough to at least fill 4 teams, at least fill 16 players with an assault rifle and with each and everything. But well, now 52 players alive, 14 teams.
Yeah.
And I think most of the teams will have that numbers advantage, but at the same time, Enjoy has moved all the way up towards Stalber. After getting 3 of the players being eliminated from the hands of Team SBJ, let's see if that one player, how many points could he retrieve for his team in this third game of Erangel.
Yeah, the last man standing of the particular team has to survive a lot so that they can get the placement points. I mean, obviously that is not going to be easy, but then again, we have seen players from MELISE Esports surviving till the end, players from ARR trying to survive till the end. Being the solo one, they were able to get 4 or 5 positions in their favor, so that can again happen for even BESIKTAS Esports. I would love to see how that situation happens, but at the same time, major pride. One of those teams which was unable to get anything in the previous 2 matchup is now there with 4 amazing eliminations. That is the kind of anticipation that we do see in the Europe region. And I would love to see how far this anticipation is going to go. I would love to see how far this conquest of getting the elimination is going to go. But at this point, school apart and also the school mail building is completely being ruled by the players of Major Pride Esports. At the same time, Bravo Esports is now trying to figure out the angles on MELISE Esports' players like this. That is Kiss You RTR, which is again one of those good guys, one of these amazing players which was able to get a lot of picks in the previous matchup as well. If you guys remember in the overall statistics, Miss You, or should I say Kiss You, was the guy which was able to get the highest, or should I say longest elimination. So that can happen once again because he's quite good when it comes to the long range trap shots. But we have to remember the fact that the map was Miramar, where you get a little bit more of an open-ended opportunity. But some more DB shots coming into the play. Despite of the fact that Elvis won't be able to tag him around, he is trying to just completely put a pressure onto the player so that the player steers away from this location and they can actually have a clear advantage of the protector at this point. On the hindsight, MADBULLS is also trying to rotate. They might actually go for the Ruzok, or they might actually go for Snapple as well as per their suitability. But seems like that Water City is going to be the choice of location, choice of area where they're going to loot in and eventually create their stronghold.
Exactly. 14 players, 14 teams, 52 players, and towards the Water Rozok. It's going to be Team MADBULLS who rotate. I think they started off with Rozok, now going on towards the Water Rozok. Let's see if that could be a promising position to be at. But SLV, lucky him that he's still surviving with all of those noises he's making with his vehicle. And Team MS, which is Team MELISE Esports. Levi RTR just next to him. No damage being dealt with the nade. Prechik has to fall back. And I think MELISE Esports, they're playing very cautiously here. They do realize that there's another team. The vehicle sounds have been heard. But they know that there could be not just one. There could be an entire squad waiting for them to make a mistake, to give a single peek to which they capitalize. But Lee Europe falls back. And just behind them, it's Team FUT Esports. Foot Esports is also there. I think Team FLUX, being the number one team in the points table, has already been eliminated, which gives the number one spot now almost towards the side of Team SBJ. Both of them are tied up towards 27. But this, Turkish versus France fight is going to go on in the game. But Extreme, I think, excuse me, is the one. BVLK is all the way towards Gatka. The zone falls up towards Rozok, Yasiana, and towards the farm shelter position. So I think this is the most ideal one, but I'd love to see how this circle goes on towards shelter, because if it goes on towards shelter, you can hide yourself up bottom of the cave. You can go in towards those Reno Ridge, and that really enables you to even fight for the entire end circle fight. But now the shotguns, it's the TP, excuse me, but the shotgun still is in the play. FLUX Esports takes down one, but SVL will take down the player, trying to punish him for that devious action. And Team 3 Europe is only down to one player. But what? Wait a minute, did that one player deal entire squad? Oh yes, he did. I think he took down 3 of the players. FLUX Esports is just going tremendous. Oh my god, that is unbelievable. And they take down the entire team of SLE Europe. That is what Team FLUX Esports we were waiting for, finally managing to get the first squad elimination. These 4 points are going to be a big way to go for them, but they have to move themselves back towards a good cover.
Oh yeah, definitely, because obviously this location is one of those locations where a small chokehold can be created anytime soon, and eventually FLUX Esports is already losing a lot more players. You can clearly see that the last man standing from this particular team is done and dusted. They are left with 3 power. If a 4-man squad pushes forward onto their angle, things won't be that easy. But before that, that was a good pick coming in. With that, definitely the pressure falls in the hands of OZAROX. Seems like that in this particular matchup, OZAROX is not going to travel far away. One good finish is already there for next RUYA, and seems like that the knockout that was here is also going to get compensated in a finish. That's exactly what happens. Now moving forward, the last 2 players. Let's see how far they're going to go. Some more devious picks, and that's it. Next RUYA survives. OZAROX is just completely shut down at this point. BRIZEPOOL on the other corner is also getting tagged up. Multiple corner is going to create a lot of pressure onto them. But next RUYA has already got the product that they wanted to actually come up with, and now they're just going to rotate and have a peaceful fight for themselves. At the same point, if we talk about MADBULLS, another spray coming to the play. MADBULLS is now trying to diminish the urge that was there between next RUYA, and 2 amazing facts is already there for MADBULLS. I would love to see how far they're going to go, because obviously those eliminations consider a lot of stuff now.
I think MADBULLS, the timing couldn't have been better for them, but comes a retrieval, and this time it's going to be Team MELISE Esports who get themselves up in a good spot. Oh, the Molly is going to get himself confirming his skill. There comes the first hit being popped off from the side of Ozar. A knock comes in, and that's going to be Team NEXUS, who will be in a tough spot. MELISE Esports, they have to revive Cher, but will they be able to? Because back-to-back the knocks are coming through. The zone is going to close on. Let's see if it goes on towards shelter. I'd love to see a shelter and circle. Let's see if this circle wants to. But there we go. It's going to be towards the school. And the, open potato hill position, some, I'll say spot of shelter, but not the exact shelter. The main warehouse is also going to be out of the equation. And this is Esports now smoking off the vehicles just to fall back. For Esports, doing a lot of damage, and it's going to be none other than Team Oxuraj, who is being taken down. One single player, and I think that's a squad elimination. Oh no, there's only one single player surviving from the start of Oxford Esports. And FUT, with this, a rich position, they have been looking so impactful. They are fighting all directions. They're getting knocks from everywhere, and the damage from each and every player is just good. But the nade would be a good trade. One damage being done through the side of Savian. He's going on for another one. Kenzie has to be aware of these nades. But from the back comes in Swan. Swan might as well get taken down. But no, that's not the case. He acts as a bait, and that's Team FLUX Esports, who will be eliminated from the side of Kenzie.
Oh yeah, another big elimination is coming to the play. OZAROX Esports, after having the 4-man power, definitely is going to get the revival done for Sahir. On the other corner, but MELISE Esports, they're also trying to find an angle from which they can fight back, from which they can retaliate or maybe create the strongholds. Remember, just 11 teams, 34 players are surviving before the fights gets out of the hand. You have to actually figure out how far the situations will travel. Is it SBG who is going to come as and compromise, or should I say just completely shut us down, or it is NR, or it is MADBULLS at this point? Because yes, there are multiple teams which have lost some of their players, but at the end, this is how we have to perform. This is how we have to gain the points. But at the same point, A 4x7 into the play. He could be spotted pretty soon, and eventually, if the spottation is done right, a completely shutdown of that particular case is going to be there.
Exactly, but let's see. And circles are gonna indeed be something to watch out for. But at the same time, there's some damage being done yet again from the side of Team MELISE. And MELISE Esports have to realize that they have the numbers advantage. They are the one being just in the very right spot to be at and a very comfortable position at the same time. So how would this really pan out for them? MELISE Esports goes on for a knock, but NEXUS, how is he surviving? 1 pixel HP and he's still rotating, but that's where Storm is going to land an headshot, and that's going to be a kill being stolen away under the nose of MELISE Esports. OZAROX is going to get 5 elimination, a domination for them, but I think they don't have as many players as the other do. They might have as well had required, but NEXUS gets eliminated. There's another knock, I think it's gone to Swan. So reviving Swan at this position is like next to impossible for them, and that leaves them in a tough spot. I think now Team OZAROX is going to be down to only 3 single players surviving in 3 corners of the entire districts. But SBG finally coming back, takes down the last player of BESIKTAS Esports. They get the unfinished business completed, and now Team SBG will as well take down the side of Swan. So that's the third party being done from the side of SBG. They steal away the kill from the side of MELISE Esports. I mean, MELISE Esports might get each and every kill, but they're not just able to confirm it, and due to which it's been a very bad spot. SBG is now being top at the number 1 position, and I think Wrangle is just the ground for them where they could really bring themselves up in a very good position. The rotations now once again being called off. Let's see how this is going to go on. Naro going in, but just right next to him, it's going to be none other than GAIMIN Gladiators, who are just in the 13th spot but haven't yet found any success or knock towards this position.
Yeah, I mean, getting those picks is going to be really, really crucial for every single guy. But at the same time, if we talk about GAIMIN Glory, GAIMIN Gladiators to be precise, this team is glorified when it comes to the aggression. This team is absolutely unmatchable when it comes to their one-sided performance at this point. But eventually, you have to see how that one-sided performance is going to come in, because yes, the trigger point is going to come in pretty soon, where they have to come up with some good, decent, advantageous angles. Because you can clearly see that GAIMIN Gladiators is right now stuck at the 13th position in the overall standing, which is not at all a good statistics when it comes to the players from, I guess, the other angles. How far they are actually going to develop, how far of their points is going to be considered, is going to be the big question. But at the same time, Spartan is actually going to get some good, decent points in their favors. SPG, to be honest, have secured 5 amazing elimination, which is good. They've got the 4-man power, and they're going to move forward to get a secure location in the particular walls of the Swiss. But at the same time, we have got MS as well, that is MELISE World. How they're going to perform is another big question. SBG on the other corner is also finding their own back-end kit at this point, but extreme, or should I say exclusive. Let's see how is they going to perform, because excuse me is another beautiful team which is just getting shut down way too early, but I really believe they have got the hope.
Oh, exactly. But before the end circle starts, let's see which all teams are surviving. 4 players of Team SBG. We have the side of Team NEXUS RUYA with 3. We have Team MADBULLS with 3 players. We have the side of Team MELISE Esports with 3. OZAROX, OZAROX is still have all 3 players surviving. Then when we come down to excuse me, they're out of the circle and they are down in a little bit of a disadvantage. GAIMIN Gladiators still surviving, and good to see that Team Major Pride is also up, but Team SBG gets taken down. 2 players are going to be knocked off. It all comes down towards 1 single player in a 1 versus 4, and that's not the best spot for him to be at. I think that's going to be a team elimination soon, being knocked off. Can SBG survive it? It's a tough spot. GAIMIN Gladiator find the kill onto the side of the MVP player, Waro. With that, I think Perfect as well finds himself in towards the crosshairs of Team ARR, and there we go. GAIMIN Gladiators KU gets taken down. It's going to be Team MELISE who just entered the fight, and this is going to be devastating. But excuse me, with the DBS is just doing tremendous stuff. There we go, DBS from the side of excuse me. Takes down 2, and that's another one. Team Major Pride for the second time. They get taken down to these DBS. Oh my god, not again. For the second time, they become these victims of the DBS, and man, oh man, it's been unfortunate, and it's been just a tragedy for Major Pride. They had all players surviving, they had all the advantage. One thing which they didn't realize is the DBS into the hands of the players, and that is what is doing the job. Once again, NEXUS RUYA doing the dominations with it, and these shotguns are really need to be taken care of, especially if you realize that you're in a 1v4 position at a close call. But now, once again, ARR Esports, what a luck for the start of Strix. Survives barely in a pixel HP. They're already wanting to fall back. MELISE Esports with the domination of 5 kill. 7 teams surviving, and with 19 players, let's see which team is it gonna be. Welcome up on top. FURIA gets taken down, team. Excuse me. Let's see if they could still manage to stay alive with only few players down the line in the end circle.
I mean, if this is the first time, if I'm not wrong, in the phase 1 that we are seeing in the 5th circle, just 7 teams are surviving, which is again quite astonishing because the aggression is absolutely amazing. I would love to see how far the situation goes on because many Esports they are unable to find their firm ground. Some smokes are going to come into the place so they can rotate whenever the situation demands because from the back ends, I believe that's NEXUS which is going to try and tag out the players known as tag out the players coming from many Esports, and look at the guy from the other team. He's coming a bit more closer, and that is why those throwables are coming to the play, but pretty soon he might actually get spotted. It's known as gaming gladiators. That's what the org is about. What they're trying to come up with some good points. Yes, the space are something which is going to create a lot of buzz. And at the end, if you are actually able to get the results, that's all we need. Finally, one more elimination or one more takedown, one more series has been won. And 6 teams to be precise and 17 players are going to survive. Let's see how these things are going to get scattered, which team is going to get which kind of impact, and how the performance is going to get confronted. Because yes, the movement power coming from MELISE is already there. A beautiful spray came in. With that, the damage is actually getting a bit more severe, and the picks are also coming in.
Exactly, and 3 players from MELISE Esports. I mean, practically they should be the one at least at the top 3, but these mistakes are the one which is being very, I'll say tremendously capitalized on from the start of Gaming Gladiators. And just look at them. They're just raining grenades at this point for the start of Team MELISE, and now they choose to fall back. Let's see if this is the promising one. 3 versus 2 for them. Keisuke alongside Tizzy. Now trying to put some pressure, Buggy into the hands of MELISE as they try to fall back, but yet not at the safest spot. They put CO on that stack. They try to retrieve the start of RTR, which is going to be KSU, but let's see, Team MELISE, the next circle surely is not in their favor, and if it is not, that they need to have an escape route.
Not just that, I believe that the next circle is actually going to create a lot of ruckus when it comes to the teams rotating. And I would love to see how that circle is going to create the burst, but before that, there are some more space. Look at that. Just because of that small nook that is there in the particular shack, this guy is able to have an advantage, and with that beautiful spray, he's obviously going to shut him down. Revival is something which is going to be out of question, and that's exactly what happened. He has been eliminated. Moving forward, the phase to the stage 3 to be precise is going to get compromised, and after that, I would have to see some more shifts come into the play. But let's see how far the zone is going to go. Is it going to be a situation where players from MADBULLS are going to get the advantage out of it, or is it going to be a situation where Team OZAROX is going to have the advantage out of it? But yeah, it's an edgy one where both Gaming Gladiators is getting the picks, and eventually we have MADBULLS also trying to be a bit more sneaky. They will be sitting on the edge. At the same time, multiple teams are going to get confronted and multiple teams are going to get taken down.
And only one team is going to get the winner chicken dinner. But excuse me, still look at that spot. MADBULLS cannot really afford to give a single peek to them. And even if they reveal their position, the nades are going to be really devastating. Team ARR Esports is surviving. Team MADBULLS is also in the equation. Excuse me is looking at a very promising spot with only one player. They have 8 total defeats with them. But the zone is 115 meters far. Oh, this is not the best spot for him to be at. He's taking the buggy to find himself in. Maybe he could at least go in, take the booster, mark himself up at a very good position, but he's directly going in. The buggy is going to spot it off, and what? He barely survives in 1 HP. Oh, the timing is beautiful. Just heal yourself in, kid, because this is going to be the best spot, but Pneumatic is coming from back. And I think now, we could just expect him, to be eliminated at any single point, because he's just in the no man's land. He's just in the middle of nowhere. And Gaming Gladiators at the same time survive, but MELISE Esports now are closing down to them. Nate comes in, Tisone still survives. One player towards the western position, Tries to heal himself up. He only has these bandages, but Kitsune might get taken down. The nade was so impactful, but the knock comes in through towards the side of Matic. It's going to be Kishore, and he gets the first knock. Only one player, and Poser, he might realize that Kitsune is just right next to him, and might as well. It's going to be Kissio who takes both of them. So that gives us the top 5 teams. It's going to be none other than Team RUTHLESS Esports alongside Team ARR, Team MADBULLS, MELISE Esports, and Team Excuse Me with only one single player.
I mean, at this point, looking at their performance come from OZAROX is absolutely mesmerizing. They've got some decent ranks, they've got some amazing amount of manpower as well. So every single guy that is there in this particular matchup right now currently have secured just 3 manpowers, which is again quite a good thing. At the same time, if we talk about one storm, well, he gets taken down by ARR's Litmatrix. On the other corner, there is another slam coming into the play. I would love to see how far the situation is going to get carried away. But yes, the best part is at this point that the domination factor is not stopping. Still in these later stages of 6th and 7th critical play zones, there are a lot of fights that is happening.
Oh man, this is going to be amazing to see how situations are going to go out as OZAROX. Unfortunately, they get eliminated, and that slam with the buggy was everything you could ask for. Excuse me, meantime, the last player surviving, not the most timed, and he also gets down. 3 teams, it's a 3 versus 3 versus 2. Team MADBULLS still with only 2 kills. They have the numbers advantage and also the most win probability because of the back of the zone. They have to stop Team MELISE. I think no matter which team wins, it's another map, it's another team who will be winning. There's no team who still has trouble winner chicken. And I think that's interesting at the same time. Team ARR Esports, Team MS, which is going to be MELISE, but the spray doesn't connect. Oh, Furia could get taken down. Wait, what is the spray? I think he really needs to work some training grounds there, but nonetheless, he gets some damage. 40 more damage done, and Furia could be taken down. A little pressure. Nonetheless, it's a very difficult spot if you are in his, spot to be at, because the pressure is at the all-time high. But Furia, that was the best chance to take down Furia. ARR Esports at the same time, just right next towards MADBULLS. One nade onto the side of Cheesy could take him down. It's a 3 versus 2 versus 2. But let's see if this could really pan out. Oh, FLUX, he just goes on and open. And he gets punished for that. That's an easy down for the side of Team ARR Esports. Now it's going to be Team MADBULLS down to only 2 players. Team MELISE. He needs to maintain this numbers advantage and need to make sure point of contact comes in from the enemy team. A 2 versus 2, and then the team with the 3 players, which is MELISE Esports, they get them third party.
Picks and picks. That's exactly what we're waiting for at this point. And MELISE squad at this point have secured 9 amazing animations, and they're looking forward to secure. Get more and more picks at this point. But if we talk about TR, that's again a very decent team. 8 amazing fans from their perspective. MADBULLS on the hindsight is the one which is suffering a lot. You can clearly see one good member from MADBULLS is already getting compromised. The last 2 players are surviving bravely, and at this moment, the last one that is going to be frozen is at the question. There is another spray coming in from ARR's perspective, and this is the opportunity where ARR might actually diminish the advantage that MELISE Esports was having. But at the end, MELISE Esports and ARR are the only 2 teams surviving. I believe now the idea could have actually been someone, and there is a stamina execution coming in from Team Golden Hub, and you can clearly see that damage actually was absolutely hefty. The Groza pick comes in. I will have to see how far the situation goes on, and eventually with that Groza, the guy was able to shut down the player of this particular room. And moving forward, I would love to see how far it is going to help him while eating as well. But at the end, ARR 10 amazing eliminations, MS 10 amazing eliminations. What more can we ask? This could be one of those huge chicken dinners with 22 points for sure.
A 1 versus 2. And Team MELISE Esports have to save themselves second. I mean, they've played so hard. They've played so well. But is it good enough? Because the position, I think, of, MELISE still looks promising. ARR, all they need is an intel. Even if one player gets baited up, it's a 1v1 with intel. Meanwhile, Team MELISE, he's just playing the prone game here. He's trying to make sure that there's no one here to contest in. There's no one here to make sure that they come up and give themselves up, but the buggies are being rotated off from both the side. Oh, this is going to be difficult. They want to spot himself up, and yes, they have done that. There comes the first knock. Is he good for another one? It's a 1v1, but this time they have the intel. Oh, it's ARR with a big disadvantage. Now it's 11 kill for both the teams. But now he reveals himself up. It's a 1v1. They're directly going in for the fight. Kissio looks promising. He's going up, but he gets taken down. And so down KSU, it's going to be Trix who takes down the final player. Good try from the side of KSU. I think he indeed is going to be the MVP of this entire game because the level of domination KSU showed in the entire game from the side of MELISE Esports, I think he got major frags there. But in the end, it was ARR Esports who win the winner chicken dinner, and that's the third team who will now manage to get themselves up in a big advantage. What a way to get themselves up with these winner chicken dinners. And I think they were down to what, like a 12th spot, if I'm not wrong. And from there, they're now towards the 6th spot with a 22-point chicken dinner. I think that's the most we have seen today.
Yeah, the aggression was there, and after this kind of jump, definitely ARR Esports have made their way to a very safe haven. Like you can clearly see, they are about to touch the top 6 marker, or should I say top 5 marker, to be honest. That will happen pretty soon, but let's talk about the individual statistics coming from the particular guys from the winner chicken dinner. So we do have Living Tricks, and he was able to get a damage of 1141, which is again quite amazing. 8 eliminations altogether as an individual. That's huge because we have seen quite a few teams which are unable to secure even 8 points altogether, and this guy alone single-handedly is able to secure that 20 points. That's absolutely impressive. On the hindsight, we have Baker Rebel 7, which is again going to have a decent amount of damage. I would love to see how far those situations is going to get carried away because we have multiple giants trying to perform, multiple giants trying to get the advantage out of it. But 6-6, 8-6, nahi de sakte. Zaya is actually unwin at this point, but yes, ARR and MG are those two teams which are, I guess, incompatible with you. But at the same time, the teams to watch are going to be teams like ARR, teams like MELISE Esports, and also there are some of the teams which are trying to just get some beautiful noting period in their favor. But at the end, things might change rapidly. I am looking forward to it, how match number 4 is going to sum up.
Oh, completely. And I think, as we mentioned, Trix, the man who saved it in the end. 8 eliminations for Strix at the same time. What a player. 1141 damage, 1 assist, but he was the one who saved his team from getting at the hash active position. Nonetheless, what a game. So team is up with 11 eliminations. So was Team ARR before they get the final kill. 22 points for ARR. We have Team MELISE is up with 17. We have Excuse Me with only 1 player who came at the top position, but they had like 8 eliminations, so that's 12 points. We have the side of Team Oxo being at the 4th spot, 9 them with 7. So all of the bottom teams do manage to come on top, as BJ managed to cross their way in towards the number 1 position after it was an early elimination from the side of Team FLUX. Meanwhile, Team NEXUS RUYA has been that one consistent team to add those, like 5-7 points as an elimination points. Like that is what I love to see from the side of NEXUS RUYA. But 6,000 healings done, 3 airdrop looted, and the longest elimination from the side of Furia.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this marker was actually broken down by the guys from MELISE Esports in the previous matchup, but all in all, a beautiful competition indeed coming up to the end in this particular match number 3 of the phase number 1, day number 1, to be honest. But still, remember guys, 2 more matches are left, and in those 2 matches, things can change rapidly. I'm all for it. I would love to see how the jump is going to happen, but these are the match stats. Moving forward, I would love to see the overall standing, what kind of jump is there in that particular situation. MELISE Esports, oh, that's huge. That's huge. In 3 matches, they performed exceptionally well. They had the consistency, and due to that, the team which had the chicken are now getting pushed to the 2nd and 3rd position, and the team which is again going to be consistent is actually having their 3 points in everywhere. At the hindsight, we have SPG with 30, FLUX Esports with 27, MADBULLS with 26, next we have with 25 as well, ARR Esports with 24, and eventually if we talk about OZAROX Esports, that is with 19 again. Once again, if we talk about BESIKTAS Esports, I guess if I'm not wrong, BESIKTAS was there at the 2nd and 3rd position. But right now, currently, look at the drastic jump that is there from multiple teams.
Exactly, and I mean, that jump is just amazing. Excuse Me as well goes on with 18. Major Pride finally 4 points added to the table, and they come up on top for Foot Esports with 5. GAIMIN Gladiators, they go down towards Excuse Me, and so does REGNUM, CARYA, NEXUS, and Team RUYA Esports. But with that, the 3rd game of the day is also quite done and dusted, and we are gonna go on the 4th matchup. There are 2 more games remaining.
Yeah.
First one of them is gonna be none other than Miramar, and the last game to end of the day is gonna be none other than Wrangle. But before we go on, let's take a quick short break. You guys stick around with us as we'll be right back. Welcome once again to the Ruthless Europe Invitationals. This is going to be the fourth game of the day.
Yeah.
After two Erangels and one Miramar, there are still teams struggling to get at the top 8 position. There are still some teams struggling to get the double digits in the point scorecard, but I'm pretty sure this next game of Miramar is going to be an iconic one with already Team ARR Esports, SPG Esports winning the winner-winner chicken dinners in their respective maps. We are indeed waiting to see what the up next is going to go on, but let's take a look at the schedule and let's see which maps were being secured. It was Team SBG in the first of a wrangle, then Team FLUX in the second game, and then the third team. So each and every region so far has been really coming up on top. There's not been a single team who has won double winner chicken dinner, but I think that could be the case in the next two match coming up next.
Yeah, things have changed because yes, eventually or even SBG or even FLUX is more than capable of having a chicken dinner, but there are quite a few other teams which are trying to actually aim for the pyramid chicken dinners. I would love to see how that performance goes on because yes, as said earlier, there are multiple contenders of this particular chicken dinner. But yes, once again, moving to the predictions. Eventually, the scorecard is still 0-0 after the 3 matches have been passed, but somewhere around, I guess we are getting the idea of which team is performing in a particular fashion. But yes, for me, in this particular matchup, I believe I would go for MELISE Esports once again. I am looking forward to see how MELISE is going to perform because MELISE is one of those teams, despite of not getting the man advantage right, they are still getting in the top 3, top 4 positions, and that is the best part. They are trying to be generous, they're trying to be, should I say, consistent, and that is the only reason why they were in the top in the overall shining. Because there were quite a few teams like if we talk about even ARR was there, even FLUX and SPG was also there, which was lurking in the bottom charts just because of the reason of a consistent team. That's exactly what we were trying to tell, what we are trying to emphasize in the past few weeks, that consistency is the key of that success in the leaderboard, and that's exactly what MELISE Esports is trying to do. But for you, Akon, what's your pick?
I think I'd definitely go with none other than RUYA. I think RUYA, it's their time to shine now. They have been just looking dominant. They have been looking confident. They have been looking as a team who are going in for these eliminations and being down in a map like Miramar. I think they could be that one team who will get a big advantage. But let's see if that's the case or no.
Yeah.
As we will move in soon towards the fourth game of the day. Last, Miramar indeed for the day. But well, after that, we surely are gonna see Wrangle at the same time. So teams, it's not been that like I'll say like a long day for them, but they definitely had to come up to show some consistency. So let's directly take a look and let's see what previously we had seen. Like I think previously we had a very diagonal, like I'll say plain path starting on from Mount Noveo towards going between the Puritio, Pericio, and Impala, and then the encircle going in towards the bottom, Schumacher and Lossley on his position. This time I do expect something different though.
Let's see what will happen in this particular matchup because obviously the expectations are way too high. We have a lot of speculations to talk about, but then again, the play zone, the flight path is something which can orchestrate a lot of stuff. Either you are actually going to be aggressive or you're just going to play a bit more passive. A lot of things are there which can change quite rapidly when it comes to this particular kind of game. But yes, all in all, the seconds and the minute timer is done. And remember, guys, this is match number 4 of the day number 1 of phase number 1. And the flight path is starting from Los Egos. Wala Dilman, it is losing to the ears of Torremada or maybe Campo Metar as well. I would have to see what kind of angle is going to be there. But all in all, yes, I am very excited at this point.
Well, I think this is going to be an interesting, and I cannot really, wait to, get inside the game as the plane path is already up here. Let's see how things are going to go on because slowly, steadily, the games have started to, move in towards the prison all the way towards the top Torre Munda position. And Team Extreme instantly going down, and I think the bottom position doesn't gives you that ideal loot if you ask me. Tumachara is going to be contested in from the side of Team Fire Flux. MADBULLS are going to go in towards Mount Noveo, and there's going to be no one to contest them after the previous brawl with that. Team Fireflux as well having no point to worry about. Team NR at the same time going on towards El Pozo, so this is looking promising. Meanwhile, Team Nexus, if they want to go in towards Picado, maybe want to think twice because that's where already I think one of the team, Reggie, has been spotted off and got a good advantage. Meantime,
Yep, at this point, eventually, we have to talk about the circle, which is absolutely amazing because it's a centric one, but then again, there are eliminations coming up, and that too way too early to be honest. FUT Esports has been taken down. That's a complete shutdown coming in, and we have SPG once again trying to reclaim their victorious aggression. And look at SPG. Every single guy from the team known as SPG was able to get one single frag. That's a beautiful momentum that is there. But the San Martin is in the favor of this particular team. I would love to see how far they're going to go, but at the same time, what has happened to FUT? Why are they unable to perform in the past 3 matches, including this one? If I talk about the past 4 matches, I don't think so. FUT was able to get any kind of a huge chunk of points in their favor. So that is actually going to create a lot of ruckus in the mind. But at the end, if we talk about the equalizing scenario, if we talk about the finishes and the aggression, I guess somewhere around we have teams like MADBULLS, we have teams like even ERR also, Team XR, which can come up with some good points. But let's see how far the situation goes on. Have got the mini man. Is going to rotate a bit more on the other side of the road so that he can just completely have the control of this particular loot. At the same time, if we talk about BVA, that is going to be the OZAROX Esports. Let's see how BRIZEPOOL is going to enact with that. We have CARYA, I believe. CARYA, yeah. So they're trying to figure out where the angle is. They're trying to figure out which angle they should shoot on. But at the same time, Sky Europe is also coming up with the close vicinity. So we might expect a full-blown fight pretty soon.
Promisingly, I think, like 60 players alive. Let's see. I think Team Excuse Me, 18 points for them. For now, on our screens, it's going to be Team BRIZEPOOL once again, just right next to Team SLV Europe. Meanwhile, I think that's another knock-in coming in the favor so far of the side of Team ARR. Knocks for them, and what a play! Team ARR completely comes back with this comeback, and it's unfortunate if you are Team MELISE Esports, because Team MELISE Esports are just down to what? I think only one player, barely one player surviving there. They did not even manage to put a single knockout. I mean, knock finish also didn't came in. And that's lucky if you are Team ARR Esports, who just came in winning a winner chicken dinner. But at the same time, Team BESIKTAS Esports, another map, another big disappointment for them. And Team ARR with some early good numbers being added up to the points table in their finish points will really add themselves up. But ARR now rotating all the way towards Krulzimal. Let's see where they are heading towards. SLE Europe have just, cornered the entire Team Esports towards a very cornered position. So if they want to come back, if they want to come out, there are 4 players just right next to them who could deal so much damage. I think at this point, Elvish is the only one player who could really bring some impact, and Kazers need to desperately find a vehicle to just fall themselves up, because Team SLE are slowly, steadily coming in. SLE Europe wants to just close things down, and it's only 2 players from the side of BRIZEPOOL who have to just deny it. The nade has to do the job. BRIZEPOOL from the back comes in with the flag, and that's going to be crazy with the first knock. So the first knock comes in, and that's in the favor of Team BRIZEPOOL. At the same time, Team SLV, let's see if they could really answer back. There's no answer back quite yet. It's a 3v4, but the kill onto the side of Keshpa is going to be confirmed.
Indeed, I mean, the eliminations are coming in, so definitely for Sky Europe, the picks have to be crucial. But yeah, the 3-5 was there, so I think that is also quite interesting. But there is another spray coming in. Kirash has been taken down, Elvis has been picked off. So, sorry, but sorry, or the BRIZEPOOL is already getting picked off. We can clearly see the last 2 players which are surviving are trying to fall back a bit, because now the aggressive stance is going to get diminished. Last 2 players are now trying to fight for the survival, but that won't be easy because Europe's players have got an idea where the angles are, and another beautiful pick coming in, and that was huge. With that pick, it's a 2v2 situation if I'm not wrong. So I would love to see how far this 2v2 is going to get compromised, because Kazers can come up with some good Thompson space. Okay, he's cooking up some smoke so that he can create that out of deception. More than that, the angles that is there from Cyrope are now getting changed, which is good enough. BRIZEPOOL once again waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right angle. Has got the level 1 helmet, but eventually there is no vest, which can again impact a lot. Now from the first floor, they're trying to get an idea. Some more smokes once again, just trying to create that pressure onto the guys. And that smoke is obviously not going to cut the deal, but that helped this guy to get an idea where the player is. On the right side, there could be some more sprays, there could be some more tags, but eventually, yes, the team particularly known as Sky Europe is actually on the back end areas, or should I say outskirts of this compound. That is why they're being so defensive. They won't be able to aggress, because even if they are able to aggress, they are actually going to lose 1 or 2 players. That's exactly what happened to them in the initial fight. That is why they're not willing to lose any more players at this point. But at the end, SBG with 4 amazing finishes in this particular matchup is once again reclaiming their top positions as the #1. But look at Kezers, a beautiful flank coming from his perspective. If this flank works, it will be huge. Yes, it works. Yes, it is absolutely fruitful. A beautiful spray with that. One good guy has been taken down.
Oh,
The gun is
what?
on reload. S1987 is going to be the gun that he's going to use right now. Just one more bullet to get connected, and that's exactly what happened by Courage. And finally, Sly Europe has been done and dusted. They have been wiped out.
Sly Europe, oh, that was such a tremendous push from them. But Bra Esports, how did they manage to hold them for so long? Well, the job is not yet done. Versus Esports is just coming in from the back lines, and now it's going to be a more difficult spot in right next to them. Two players there. Team MELISE is all the way up towards the main warehouse. While they will be wanting to fall back, this is the best time for them to heal themselves up, get some, like ammunitions. Because we saw like most of the players didn't have much HP. Thanks to the Thompson holographic side, which really helped them up. But MELISE Esports, they know that there are a lot of crates lying down here. And if they're more than 4, you know that another team will be there on a numbers disadvantage. Meaning that any which ways, if they take the fight, they can afford to maybe capitalize on them. Because already it's, a damage team who you will be taking down. But let's see how Team Bra Esports is going to go on as they are going to fall back. And such a smart decision for them. 4 kills inside this, the graveyard position. And now with the fallback decision, this could be the smartest they could get. Meantime, if we talk about the side of none other than Team BESIKTAS Esports, they are down to only one single player. With only one single player surviving, let's see how things really come out. I think 3 teams being out of the zone, it's going to be none other than GAIMIN Gladiators. We have Excuse Me Out, Team NEXUS, and also Team ARR who has to make their way into the play zone. But let's see, the zone is going to close down, and where is the first circle going to shift on? I think it could go this time a little bit towards the northeastern position. We can expect La Bandita, Picardo, maybe even San Martin. But let's see, okay, that's the same zone. It's the La Bandita, San Martin, and Picardo zone, where you are seeing Team Bra Esports in a very good spot. They have the corner for themselves, so I don't think they have any need to rotate. All they have to do is just survive this one zone and then wait for the next one. But just behind them, it's going to be Team NEXUS who will be willing to come on and contest that position.
Yep, that can happen. No doubt in that. But eventually, if we talk about the chase, yes, you can clearly see a lot of teams are trying to rotate, a lot of teams are trying to chase through the particular circle. Obviously, it's not going to be that easy, but eventually, being in the circle is going to be the main meta, because once you have that particular, stronghold in the circle, then you can create a lot of defensive covers, and from which you can clearly gatekeep all those teams which are trying to be in the later stages of the zone. At the end, BESIKTAS Esports, as you said, upon that he's the last one standing, the player known as Son SP. What will he do? Because obviously he is actually on the edges, but pretty soon there are going to be multiple teams coming up with a close circle, and that fight might not be that memorable or that fruitful, to be honest, because yes, quite a few magnates are being utilized at this point. The helmet is already blown to bits. If we talk about the West, that's quite intact as well. OZAROX Esports on the other corner is actually going to have the advantage of the top ridges beyond the areas of I believe Picardo, and from these ridges they're trying to learn, they're trying to get an idea where their enemy is. There are quite a few people in the close range vicinity, but obviously aiming onto them and then getting the shots right, then getting the KO, and after that KO again getting the elimination is not going to be that easy. So in order to survive, I believe that ridge is going to help them a lot, but in order to get the frag, I really doubt it, because obviously from this angle to that angle, sprays won't be that easy. The bullet drop is going to come in, multiple things to calculate with. So yeah, the picks will be there, but a difficult one.
Well, let's see how things really go on, because in Picardo, it's Team FLUX alongside MADBULLS, and both of them are being in a really good spot at this position. FLUX could really fall back, Team MADBULLS could really play the zone, but how promising is this place? Karel, oh, good damage being done, but I think that's not enough. Meanwhile, from the top lines comes in none other than the side of Team OZAROX Esports, and OZAROX managed to find the first one. Flade is going to be taking down MADBULLS. Frozen would not be in a very good, comfortable spot to go on unless he has a vehicle. Vehicle is indeed dead towards Silka, but at the same time, Trix gets down. It's a fight between Team ARR and GAIMIN Gladiators, and Team GAIMIN Gladiators are the one who are doing so much damage onto the side of Team ARR. At the same time, I think Major Pride also gets down. Bra Esports is all the way up towards the dominations, but Team Excuse Me will also get themselves up in a fight. This time, it's going to be none other than Team REGNUM CARYA and Team REGNUM CARYA. Let's see how it goes. Another knock, and this time it's an elimination. Team BRIZEPOOL, they get eliminated at the 14th spot. Unfortunate for them, but the place circle has to come in towards the center. Let's see where it goes. It goes towards the little bottom center. You still have Team Nexus in the circle. You still have Team Major Pride. And alongside Major Pride, we also have the side of none other than BESIKTAS Esports. But wow, what a day to start off it as Team GG, which is Team GAIMIN Gladiators. They are looking dominant, but Eorod in the 1 pixel HP. Baker gets a knocked out of TZ, and that's 1 pixel, which he had to work with, but still manages to land the spray. And oh man, this is just tremendous. GAIMIN Gladiator still surviving. Oh, but that's not going to be for long. Team ARR, they dominate them, they eliminate them entirely. But it was a 2v4, right? We saw that GAIMIN Gladiators, they had everything. But just in the end, nick of the time, Becca went in big, and Kippo going in with the 3k. That was all they needed. And Team ARR, 7 defeats so far. They survived in the top 12 position.
7 amazing eliminations. That's huge. No doubt on that. But after losing 2 good players of the team, I really doubt that elimination is going to be that fruitful, because obviously the main goal at this point is going to have the chicken dinner. But if they are actually consistent, if they're getting 10 to 15 points in every single match, that will actually help them a lot. And we can clearly say that they have already secured the 4th position. From this location to the 1st position, the journey is not that easy, but again, not that comfortable as well. MADBULLS on the other corner finds one from the team. Oh, well, that's an interesting sample that MADBULLS is actually using. And that is Linux AMR, if I'm not wrong. So I would have to see how that AMR is going to connect and which particular guy is going to receive shots out of it. FLUX Esports on the other corner, that's Soulless, which was able to tag out the players from MELISE Esports. And those tags are not going to be that easy. Look at the tap shots coming from Matt FLUQ, I believe. FLUQ is the name, which is getting the tags right. Has got the Scarl, and with those Scarl, the tap shots, the burst shots are coming in, along with an cruiser for the clue squad to come back. OZAROX on the other corner is also trying to hide a bit, but he knows if he is patient enough, SBG is going to make some mistakes. FBG is going to come with an open-ended area, because nobody expect at this point, nobody's expecting at this point that there is going to be a guy in this particular close second. Even if the vehicle gets spotted, they might not be that cautious that there is a guy on the ridge. But yes, all in all, MELISE Esports, one good player has been knocked out. Is it going to be possible for them to get the revival? Yes, finally the revival is also done. But 3-4 teams which have been wiped out from the pace of this particular scenario for this 2023 year. That is Foot Esports, Sly, that is Sly Europe, and eventually GAIMIN Gladiators, to be honest, is again another wonderful team which I would love to see performing, but currently the meta is not that fruitful, to be honest. So I would love to see how far the meta is going to get us, because every single time the teams which are representing themselves in this phase number 1 are fighting for themselves, rather than giving a team effort where the whole team can survive, or maybe the whole team can actually shut down few giants in the lobby, and after that maybe get shut down. Things are not that easy, because the nuclear setting is actually going to be there. People are coming from multiple flanks, and that's exactly why the southern flank is the most fruitful one, because there is nobody to contest him, and there is also a compound in the southern flank which might actually get occupied soon as the zone gets shrunken down.
Oh well, this is going to be an interesting end circle. 12 teams still surviving, and Team MADBULLS to take down yet another player. This time it's going to be Team OZAROX Esports. Team OZAROX, can they manage to claw back and save Storm? A tough spot, but next, I think RUYA at the same time, they are going to be the one who get down. They are already out of the circle, and there's another one. So it's only one single player from the side of Team RUYA, and with only one player surviving, I think it's a very difficult spot. I think Team MADBULLS are just committed towards the fight. But just from the backlines comes in the side of Team SVG, and Team SVG also finds some good kills. I think they already have 4. Going in for another one. Team FLUX in all of these fights have not yet been in the entire equation. The nade might do the job, and Team RUYA might find themselves up in an elimination. What a way to start things apart in RUYA. They get eliminated, only single 0 points for them. But hey, Team MADBULLS, they are just not stopping here. Oh, Frozen looks back at the wrong direction. Oh, red dot spray to get the headshot. And oh my god, what a beauty Frozen it is. MADBULLS still doing wonderful job. He spots the last player, who is indeed one fun player surviving. But what a knock coming in, and what a retaliation. Oh my god, that is insane if you talk about Tulka. And still, he manages to keep his hopes alive. Well, Sita finds 2, but here comes a player from the backlines. It's going to be none other than REGNUM CARYA. But how long can REGNUM CARYA survive? MADBULLS only standing with 2 players. It's 34 players, 11 team, and the next circle is going to come in within 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, the next circle might actually change the pace of the game, where teams might actually go from aggressive stance to some passive rotations. But all in all, that rotation will be of the fifth particular play zone. So definitely, I believe the clashes could actually come in. But before that, some good spurs on the SPG's player, but obviously the connection is not there. But finally, Spartan is done. Oh, one of the good spray coming in from the back ends, and with that particular spray, MELISE Sports is now trying to get the revivals done. That is Lewis BTR, which is Lewis RTR to be honest, which is trying to come up with the revival. Another nade comes in. That's absolutely interesting to watch out. That the throwables, then the small sneak kick sprays are absolutely working with the way it's supposed to be. But on the hindsight, there are some more sprays coming in. BESIKTAS esports might just get eliminated pretty soon because two good players of the particular team have been already eliminated. BESIKTAS is already about to get eliminated, and yes, finally they have been eliminated. The rest remaining players which are indulging in this particular kind of activity where they're trying to create some nuisance are obviously going to get eliminated pretty soon. But before that, we can clearly see that a lot of teams are actually rotating with a buggy, which is again a very good weapon. I'm saying like weapon because you can easily use it to crush down people and also get some good covers through it so that you can use it with the shield, like a shield to be honest. But eventually, buggy is very good when it comes to his fast faction. Uh, I guess rotations and also the control that you get with the buggy. But yes, a guy which is sitting on the pillion seat of that particular weapon, a particular vehicle, is not going to get fruitful. That's precise. Some more nades coming in from SPG's perspective. I would love to see how that nade is going to get opened up. What kind of players are going to get picked off with the particular needs? It seems like that the need is not going to make that kind of dent because yes, the players are in either the compounds or eventually in the upper areas of the compounds. But at the end, oh, the northern area is pretty much congested. You can clearly see that there is a fight going on between MELISE and SBG. Although SBG comes up with the domination, but MELISE on the other corner was not going home that easily. She was also trying to just lurk around and get as many aspects as possible.
Well, let's see how things really pan out. Team SBG still barely surviving in a good spot, but what a knock coming in with the right peak, and there he might go for another one. Whoa, he just takes every one of them down. Being alone, he just needs his teammates, and that's Team MELISE Esports getting eliminated at the 8th spot. That's only one single point for them out of all that survival for the last 20 minutes. But Team SBG, they are right back. One team which is still surviving. So far, it's going to be none other than Team Major Pride. But they have to still continue this run. Team ARR Esports finds Monkeys on. Meantime, if we talk about BLK, he takes down 2 with the grenade. Oh, Team Extreme Esports once again doing a wonderful job right there with the grenade. Team ARR, only 2 players, but there comes Team SBG and it's a victor with the DBS, but a good knockout. Wow, the trade was beautiful from the side of Becca. It's a 1v1, but the third party from the side of FLUX comes in, and the fight for number 1 position now starts right now, right here. As if they eliminate Team SBG, this is going to be the best chance for the side of Team FLUX to regain that number 1 spot. Team SBG has really been looking dominant, but oh, Wallow might get taken down. And yes, so does Victor, so that's only one single player which is left from the side of Team SBG, and he has already been spotted off from the side of Valky. ARR Becca still surviving 1 versus 1 for the side of ARR and none other than SBG, but there we go. It's FLUX who with the third party gets the kill, and Team ARR Esports lucky to survive the fight. Now the fallback, and that's SBG, the final player who will be eliminated at the 7th spot with only 7 eliminations.
I was not expecting this kind of elimination coming up in the earlier stages, but same can be seen for the major spread. If I'm not wrong, they're also getting picked off at this point. Multiple teams which are trying to rotate, multiple teams which are trying to set up some other momentum in this particular community are getting shut down at this point. The individual guys are also suffering a lot when it comes to their picks, all the casting and stuff like that. But at the same time, if we talk about FLUX Esports, they're trying to represent a lot more of an org in the underdog scenario or maybe the rising star scenario, to be honest. But yeah, there is another elimination that is going to be elimination which was there. So just 2 points. I'm sad to see that, but eventually these are the top 5 teams which are going to survive. That is the Venom Chicken team, known as the particular team which was able to secure 7 amazing kills. On the hindsight, we have got REGNUM CARYA with 9 amazing kills as well. So slightly higher than the other guy, but NEXUS on the other corner secures just 1, MP with also 1, and ARR with 8 amazing eliminations. That means eventually there are few other angles from which the output is not going to be that dedicated. So I would love to see which are those particular angles from which things are not being comfortable. But at the same time, there are going to be some throwables. There are going to be some more aggressive stances coming up between both the teams. Like FLUX Esports is also trying to come up with some good nails On the hindsight, point is also you're trying to do the same. We all know it's not that easy. You have to place the needs, you have to cook it, you have to get the placement right, and also wait for the need to get burst out so that the player is going to get completely shut down. Otherwise, you will not be able to knock out, and you are going to just completely throw away a lot more of that particular opal. Yes, I would love to see how far the situation goes on because 5 teams and 13 players. That's exactly what we have at this point. Balloons, you can get it, but you really want that Julia Kapalna.
Well, Team FLUX, are they looking to concede yet another win of the chicken dinner? ARR could also be a good contesting team. The Team Nexus, Team Regnum, CARYA and Team Major Pride still looking for the first one. Well, meantime, Team Nexus gets taken down onto the side of Pino. Okay, Team Major Pride is also getting few kills here, and it's only in the back of Pino who is having 2 bloods. Finally getting themselves up in this 2v10. It's not going to be an easy one. They have to play the zone here, and zone is what is going to be a challenging part. Team ARR, only one single player surviving from the side of ARR. Could he be the one who might take down the entire squad? It's a 1v2 for him, but from the back lines comes in Team FLUX squad, and there we go. ARR is being the one who's being a big damage here, and that's the DBS action once again. And oh man, there's some relation between Team Major Pride and DBS every other time. 4 games, and out of 4, 3 games, you'll see Team Major Pride getting taken down to these DBS. Oh my god, how are they gonna recover from this mental breakdown, which is gonna be the case as only one single player survived? It's a very helpless situation for them at the same time. But REGNUM CARYA, with the top of this position, they have the mid. That's a big advantage, but Becca is going to be spotted up. The damage is going to be known, and Wild still going on for some sprays.
I mean, definitely they've got an idea that there are players lurking in the shadows. They're trying to be a bit more close to the particular play area, and that's exactly why the sprays are going to be immense. Random Kyra, definitely player known as Wild is trying to get the shots right. But eventually, that placement is not that going to be, not that adequate to be honest. But still, I would love to see that REGNUM Kyra is going to secure a chicken dinner pretty soon. Top 5 teams are surviving, 11 players are there. Out of that, the manpower actually truly falls in the hands of FLUX Esports. If FLUX is going to once again back out this particular tournament chicken dinner, they're going to be that particular team which is actually going to jump a lot in the leaderboard. But at the same time, we do have teams like NEXUS, we do have teams like Major Pride, we do have teams like ARR, and also the team known as BESIKTAS Esports. REGNUM Kyra, to be honest. So I really believe things can change rapidly. Despite of having the manpower, things will backfire. So yeah, if the cards are not right for I believe the northeastern teams, things won't be that easy because yes, the players from REGNUM Kyra are already trying to close up to the players, and these shots, well, it will be absolutely mesmerizing. Some more nades, some more throwables is what we are waiting for. And yes, the nade goes in. If the impact is going to be there, that would be massive. Yes, definitely the damage could have been there, but still not enough to completely shut down the players. In retaliation, there are going to be some more nades from the other angle.
Well, Team REGNUM CARYA, only one player, and I think the spam might be enough. And Team FLUX, they get the first one. 2 more remaining. Team FLUX is just looking dominant, especially in these end circles. As they maintain the numbers advantage, it's all single bodies right next to them. ARR with 1 single player. Team NEXUS with 1 single player, and so is the side of Team Major Pride. Only one team which could be REGNUM, REGNUM CARYA could be the one who could impact completely, but Team Nexus gets taken down to the nade, and that's Tron with another 3k banger moves. This is gonna fall down towards only 4 teams. It's a 1 versus 1 versus 2 versus 4, and Team Nexus being taken down with only 1 elimination. It was so long, all for nothing. Wild, the nade might just go right next to him. Some damage might be dealt, but not even a little. The connection hasn't yet been made. Team FLUX is closing down towards Wild, and Wild is playing a very sneaky angle here. If he falls down, he'll fall down towards the crosses of OK, but soulless. If he gives the intel, OK would be so good with this rotation. But before that, it's going to be Team Major Pride who will get the 4th spot, and the 3rd spot will then go in towards REGNUM CARYA. So the timing couldn't have been better. It's the 3rd spot for the side of REGNUM CARYA. Major Pride could have been really happy with the 3rd, but nonetheless, it was the timing game right there. And Team ARR at the top 2 position one more time. 1 single player was Becca, was almost down to Team SBJ if I'm not wrong. And before he gets taken down, it was Team FLUX who came into rescue to take down SBJ, and now it's him against the 4 players. Let's see if he could really be good enough to get some move damage, because 10 kills already for him. I think that really puts him in a very good spot to come at the top 3 position.
Let's see what happens, because yes, FLUX Esports have got the full manpower. They've got 9 amazing packs. They've got the decent angles. They've got some smokes. The AKs are coming into the play. They have got the AKs as well on the back end. I believe there is an M4 also working its way. So definitely survival is not going to be easy, and that's exactly what happened. Team ARR finally gets shut down. Exactly the kind of gameplay that we were expecting from the match number 1, and in the match number 1 as well, we did so. The guy trying to utilize that kind of angle. But moving forward, yes, 4 matches of this particular invitation showdown has been over in the phase number 1, and in these 4 matches we are going to see a repetition when it comes to the chicken dinner that is coming from FLUX Esports. Although that previous chicken dinner was not that easy, this one is going to be a bit more comfortable. I really believe that and also the first position is going to get snatched away. So yes, all in all, a lot of things change, a lot of shifts are there in this particular meta at this point, and I'm actually looking forward to see what kind of jumper is there. But 1927 is the right amount of damage that they were able to dish out, and 20 eliminations from a point versus 20 placement points. So yes, the jump is there, but I still believe it is not that significant. Some of the team with maybe a bit more of a pressure, a bit more of a presence in the game can actually secure some good points.
Well, let's see how things really move in the overall points table, because Team FLUX, this is the second winner chicken dinner for them. It would really put them up at least in 50-point marker. And the reason I say at least is because they were already had that one winner chicken dinner with 19 points, but loads with 758 damage. Things are now looking pretty tremendous now from now on. Solus at the same time with 535, Soulkey with 373, and it's Sketch with 261. I think the fourth game was just a big advantage towards Team FLUX, and I think both the time Team FLUX has won, it's the map of Miramar. Like, Miramar is just being the home ground for this one team. Team REGNUM CARYA at the same time, a good travel distance being dealt off. Team SBJ, they had some decent numbers, but they got taken down towards FLUX, which was unfortunate as the fight for number 1 went in their favor. But ARR Becca, what a player, what a way to add those crucial endpoints in the entire equation, because if he wasn't there to be alive, things would have not been at the greatest spot. But I mean, yeah, the teams to watch were definitely these alongside, I'll say a few more to add on, but Becca is indeed going to be the MVP. The man who brought so much value towards Team ARR, not just the hashtag 2 position, but also had 4 eliminations, 865 damage, 12 throwables used. But what's important for this player is that he was able to at least come at the top spot. Like, if he would have been taken down at a very early spot, I think Team ARR would be really down to maybe 5th or in the bottom 10 position. But now I think I'm very sure that when we take a look after the overall standing, Team ARR will be up at the top 6 or top 5.
That could be the case with, yes, I would love to see how far ARR is going to push that kind of synergy. At the same point, if we talk about the match ranking, we can clearly see FLUX Esports after securing this one as well in their favor. They have secured 20 points as well. And on the high side, we have got REGNUM CARYA with 16 points, which is huge. ARR on the other corner also secures a similar amount of points, which is absolutely mesmerizing. Not a lot of times it is going to happen, especially on the other corner. Tried to be consistent, and they had 8 points. MP, 7 points for them as well. I'm happy to see that there are some shifts coming into that particular guy's performance. And if we talk about Rise first, we have 5 points. Has got 4. Nexus has got 4 amazing points. And if we talk about Magnet, they have secured already 3 points. And eventually, when it comes to Ozo, he is going to 3 himself. I guess SLY Europe on the other corner was stuck with the eliminations in their favor, but not just that. They have to come up with some placement points as well in order to just completely overhaul the competition in their favor. This is the match ranking where we can see there were quite a few teams. I believe 2 or 3 teams were there, which was not that fruitful, to be honest. Had 0 points when it comes to their placement, 0 points when it comes to their eliminations as well. But now moving forward to the match stats, this is where you get an idea, a brief summary of what happened in the match number 4 of this phase number 1 of day number 1, to be honest. And Dino 69 is going to be the guy with the longest elimination, that is of 320 meters. Pretty close to what we saw in the previous matchup. We have 5 airdrops, 11 headshots were there, and eventually 16 knockouts were totally dished out in this particular matchup. And if we talk about the throwables being used, that is 149, 15 total rescues were there, and the total healing is of 5,627 to be honest, and 5 airdrops were looted. Now moving onwards, let's talk about the report card. Let's talk about the overall ranking as well. FLUX Esports is still on top, and this is the only team which is actually going to touch the 50-point marker, which is again a huge journey, to be precise. ARR on the other corner, 1 chicken dinner for them, 40 points. SBG, 1 chicken dinner for them as well, 38 points. MELISE Esports, which was if you guys remember, on top positions is now getting dethroned and back to the fourth position, which is again quite surprising for me. But then again, this is part and parcel of the game. Things like that is obviously going to happen. But now moving forward, let's talk about REGNUM CARYA as well. They have 29 points. Next to RUYA, 25 points. OZAROX Esports have got somewhere around 22 points as well. So I really believe from hashtag 10 to hashtag 3 or 4, there is not a lot of buffer. One single chicken dinner can easily bump up that position.
Exactly, but what a way to start things apart for the start of Team Yara. Like, I expected a top 5. Oh, they're all the way towards the top 2 for the esports at 5th. Lee Europa with none other than 5 points. GAIMIN Gladiators with 11. So it's only 2 more teams remaining to come in double digits. And hopefully they get it done in the last match, as 4 matches done. And we have the teams already crossing like 50 marks. But now is the time we'll be waiting to see what the final game might have for us in the equation. So far, 2 Erangel, 2 Miramars, and the only team winning back-to-back 2 winner chicken dinner is going to be Team FLUX. And I think that too, it was only in Miramar. But for now, before we head over towards the map of Erangel, let's take a quick short break. Let's give the players a little time to adjust themselves in towards the last map of the day. You guys stick around with us as we guys will be right back.
So I believe one last match to go for the day. I would love to see how the phase number 1, day number 1 is going to go to the rest, but eventually, as we did so, FLUX Esports, a team which is trying to be consistent, a team which is trying to be fruitful, is absolutely amazing. MELISE Esports on the other corner, for the first 3 maps, if I'm not wrong, was quite consistent, but in the 4th one, not that fruitful, not that advantageous, to be honest. So that is why they had to go a bit more early. If we talk about MADBULLS, again, not that kind of performance that we were expecting. BESIKTAS Esports, again, a very big name, but still the performance is not coming in. But let's talk about today's schedule so that we can give a quick recap to you guys what happened in the first 4 maps. So initially we had SPG Esports with 20 points, and then FLUX came in the map of Miramar, which was a 90-pointer game if I'm not wrong. ARR on the other corner also came with 20 points in the map of Erangel, and when it comes to the map of Miramar, once again it is FLUX. So you can say FLUX is one of those teams which is quite fruitful when it comes to the map of Miramar, because every now and then in Erangel, somewhere around FLUX is unable to cut up the rotation and be a little more, I guess, safe. But then the last of Erangel, that is going to happen pretty soon. In that particular map, maybe FLUX is going to find a way to the zone and some rotations are going to come. But still, I miss that particular zone coming into the play, maybe a bridge zone or maybe a military zone, to be honest. But yes, coming back to the predictions, so this time I would like to go for NEXUS. Yeah,
Well,
NEXUS is the team I would. Yeah.
I think this is going to be a very tough spot, but I think out of the two winner chicken dinner which we got to see, maybe an hat trick for today, I'd love to go on none other than Team FLUX. They have been looking really good, and an hat trick to end off the day would be great. But wow, I mean, I'm really amazed to see that any one team out of four they have like a 50% winner chicken dinner win ratio. But that was in the map of Miramar. This is Erangel, and when it comes down to Erangel, things are pretty much not the same. It's like very different when it comes down to your rotation, when your early fights, even the loot and those short range, survival strats. So not an easy task so far. Whichever team has won a winner chicken dinner in the map of Erangel, no one has survived with four players. It's either been a 1v1, which we saw in the previous time of Erangel, where ARR barely won it. ARR almost had lost it. And then in the previous time, when Team SBG had won, they had only three players. Miramar, just at the previous game, you can see it was a 4 versus 1. They were really looking tremendous. And that was not the case only till the fourth game. It was also in the second game where, Team FLUX were really looking tremendous. So, I mean, I'm going to be really excited to see how Erangel pans out. Team FLUX is that one team. I think even the chat are really putting their anticipations on. But for now, let's take a look after the map, as our game is going to be starting in quite soon. And we'll be awaiting the plane path and also the circles which could come in.
All right, waiting for the flight path as you said, and also the play zone as you said. But yeah, moving forward. Remember, guys, this is RUTHLESS Esports presenting the Europe Invitational. So you can get every single update. Maybe from the description, that is there. The Instagram handle description is actually going to be there. So go ahead and follow the official Instagram handle of esports.ruthless. That is RUTHLESS Esports is the official Instagram handle. Go ahead and follow it so that you can get every single small update of every single date, every single scorecard after the matches gets over. You can get all of those tips. But yeah, one last final match for the day. After that, 10 more matches are going to be left. 5 of which is going to happen tomorrow and 5 the day after tomorrow, to be honest. So yeah, there we go. Right path is what I'm waiting for, and it is a very beautiful horizontal fight path, kind of an horizontal one, but yes, there is a slight edge to it. It is starting from Milta Power, close to Milta Power, and it is going to touch Prison for sure, and it is going to go close to the areas of Georgia Pool, Southwest City, which is again quite an interesting fight path. Again, for me, the preferable play zone will be a southern one, where Sosnopa Island is going to get concerned. But eventually, even if a certain central play zone comes in, then a lot of teams are going to just cherish it. I would have to see how jumping to Milta Power and maybe to the Milta region is going to comfort the aggression that was not even coming from NEXUS Esports' corner. I would have to see how that happens. But all in all, ARR once again sitting in the plane is going to drop a little bit later. I believe Georgipol could be the place where they're going to drop in. Containers is not that favorable nowadays. It's better to go for the Southwest City or maybe for the Northwest City. That's what we have seen in the Europe region as well. But yeah, Nexus is jumping in the regions of Military Factory. Oh, sorry, Milta Factory, to be honest. So that's good. Oh, Yasna Apoliana once again is going to get contested, I believe. SBG along with some other team. I don't know about the name. But yeah, I really believe there could be a clash in this region.
Oh yeah, and with that, I think the game has already begun, and once again, it's the rivalry. It's a classic rivalry between the side of Team SBG going up against the side of BESIKTAS Esports. But which would be that one team who comes up on top? Because all the players are up towards the 5 apps, and these 5 apps isn't going to be that easy. 3 of them are going to be just in. Team SBG having a good cover. Okay, a shotgun into the hands of team none other than BESIKTAS Esports. The first knock comes in from the side of Shoke, which is going to be FLUX, and they get a knock out of the side of Borg, and that's going to be none other than a melee kill for him. So that's the first blood for the side of Solk. Solk gets the first, point of contact. Team SBG still looking for the first initial advantage, the first initial pick, but this time I think Team BESIKTAS Esports are playing it too carefully, and down towards the side of REGNUM CARYA, this is the worst spot for them to be at. They have no weapons. And if he moves out, he gets knocked out. If his opponent moves out, they gets knocked off. So it's a 50-50 for REGNUM CARYA at the same time for the side of Tron, who is coming in from the side of none other than Major Pride. So both of these teams, the time is going to burn so much of this disadvantages, but excuse me, takes down loots. Team FLUX is also in a very tough spot, and there are 3 fights happening. FLUX versus Extreme Esports, Team REGNUM CARYA versus Major Pride, and yet another team which is going to be BLASTERS Esports against none other than SBJ. But now we come a quick breakthrough. Team, excuse me, still 2 players are down to barely some HP. They have only 2 energy drinks to save themselves up, but Solnus is going to get better off him. But a quick trade, 1 versus 1. Let's see if this could be a promising one, because the last player is down to very low HP, and OK is asked to go in and at least retrieve his foreign player loots.
The pressure, it is there for sure. Eventually, if you guys remember, in the first map as well, we did saw similar fight coming in. S6 is going to be the gun, but eventually, excuse me, finally survives in the game. And it's 5+ esports. That's exactly what I was talking about in the previous cluster deck. If you guys remember that 5+ is very good when it comes to the map of Mirabar, but exceptionally drastic shifts are coming in when it comes to the map of Erangel. That's exactly what happened in this particular matchup as well. Yeah, guys, did saw just 1 point for them in the Georgiapur South City, and now they are already done and dusted at this point. I would love to see how far they're going to go. And at the end, this is another beautiful spray coming in. Yes, the retaliation was there. Is it enough? Yes, I believe. SPG on the other corner is going to survive. The last 2 members of SPG's perspective is going to survive. There is going to be another slam in like situation. The shot goes in, fails to connect anything. With that, the reload has to be done. Time has been bought. Is it enough, guys? Is it enough? Not at all. BESIKTAS 1 play has been taken. Another one gets traded off by the sprays. Yes, the damage are coming up. It's immense level of damage that is actually going to get dished off. Let's see how far they're going to go. If he rotates left, he's going to get punched up from the right, and that's exactly what is working out very well for BESIKTAS esports. 2 good eliminations are there. I would have to say how P7 is going to get the revival. If he gets the revival, this team is actually going to come back with even stronger meta, even stronger brilliance of the game. But at the end, oh, that shot of S197 was huge. Again, another shot goes in, Victor finds 1 more, and with that, BESIKTAS esports is completely done and dusted.
Well, unfortunate. Once again, it's a 3-0, I think, so far. Every time you'll see the side of, team, none other than Vijay, they have been the one who came up on top. First game, I think they had an equal, 3-3 position. Both had 1 knocked each. But then they managed to get the winner with the chicken. In the second game, they completely eliminated 3 players. One of the players then went out, and still in the end circle, they fall down towards the side of Team SVG. And this time, once again, an early breakthrough, but now Team SVG is only up with 2 players. So was that a fight worth, taking is the question. Team, FLUX at the same time are the first one to fall off. And the point differential which comes in now, it's going to be a point differential of nothing less than 11 points. So almost 42 up for the side of SBJ, and FLUX up with 54. So let's see how the points is going to be covered up. But a lot of time has been taken away from the side of Team REGNUM, CARYA and Team Major Pride. So this is the time that they needed to loot. I think this puts both of these teams in a very tough spot, because now both of these teams cannot just come up. Both of these teams cannot just, do anything. All they're going to play is the zone, which is already 215 meters away from them. And now this is an interesting point, right? Because whenever you're in a position like school or Pochinki, these 2 other places which tends to 100 to 95% it has to be in the circle, in the very first circle. And the very first circle, if you'll see it, it's already out towards the eastern side when we'll take a look. So I think both of these teams might as well have lost the entire game. Only some miracle could save themselves up if they could really commit to this fight, because the setup so far looks very much 50-50.
Yeah, I totally agree with your point at this point. But moving forward, I really believe that teams like MADBULLS can perform exceptionally well in this particular matchup. I have seen them in the previous battles as well, that the aggression was there from the corner. If you guys remember, the first match of this particular phase 1 was absolutely brilliant. But at this point, REGNUM CARYA is just waiting for the right moment. The particular players from Major Spide are already getting inacted, already getting tagged up a lot from REGNUM CARYA, but this particular flank can actually help them a lot. At the same time, if we talk about MELISE esports, another big pick come in with that M4 and the vehicle clash coming in. Sly Europe's player are getting picked off. That's interesting. That was a nade, if I'm not wrong. Lewis RTR was absolutely amazing with that. Another throwable, another utils are being utilized. I would love to see how the third party fight is going to come in with that. Ooh, the good shot was there, but finally it's done and dusted. Sly Europe has been taken down. 4 good eliminations are there. 13 teams, 48 players. That's what we have at this point. And there is another knock for REGNUM CARYA. They're getting picked off. Let's see how they're going to perform with it. How they're going to exchange the blow, because already domination factor is coming up between MELISE and some other team. And same goes for Major Pride's Nomi as well. But one more fight. Mr. Perfect has been taken down. Mother's Pride Effect has been taken down. REGNUM CARYA. Loxy, what will you do? Because he was the one which became MVP, if I'm not wrong, in the first few matches. So I would love to see how REGNUM CARYA is going to perform right now, what kind of impact he can bring to the table. Yes, the rebubbles are something which is actually going to be a part and parcel of the game, and those mollies obviously is going to make them suffer. Another spray comes in. Oh, what a beautiful knockout! I was not expecting that, but finally it's done and dusted. Major Pride gets eliminated at 13th position, no position points, no elimination points whatsoever. All in all, a Wayne performance coming in from the corner. But yeah, look at the zone. A smooth Eastern shifts, Western shifts are coming in. And with that Eastern shift, maybe teams like Pubg Sports, teams like Nexus, teams like PRIZEPOOL can actually have the advantage out of it.
Well, Team Foot versus Team Nexus could be an interesting one. Team Rise was as well involving themselves in. But what are the teams who are out of the circle? Like, if you take a look after the live standing, 7 teams are out of the circle, right? Like, it's Team ARR, it's Team REGNUM Skya, it's Team Extreme, Team NR, and also Team none other than, I think GAIMIN Gladiators. So, like, it's just unfortunate. Like, 5 teams still out struggling. I think there were some more, but nonetheless, now we have the side of Team SBJ now coming their way back in from the Yasiana side towards Mention. You have Team Foot up with the numbers advantage this time. They have no kills, but yet they are the one with 4-man standing. Team GAIMIN Gladiators also have to come in. At the same time, the most number of kills indeed has to be for the side of Team MELISE Esports, as they somehow managed to deny the Team FLUX. So this opens up once again the #1 position. Let's see if Team SBJ could be good enough to get that. With only 2 players, not the ideal spot, but Team MELISE are still fighting and looking for another brawl. This time they are right up next towards the side of Team XROX Esports. And Team XROX, let's see how it goes. Nexus is going to be the one who gets the first body down. Rise Sports is going to be slamming. And the slamming works in the favor of Team Rise Sports. 3 players being taken down. Only 1 more to go. They have to retrieve a body. There we go. Another fight. This time it's going to be Keza who gets taken down. He's going in for the revival. Revival comes in from either side. Not a readiest position for Briad, but Rin is going in. He's making sure that he gets these amazing intels. But in the back of the cover, Team Nexus is trying to find some intel. This is going to be a tremendous nade. Means focus. But no, it's none. That's not even a single one, and the trade comes through. It all comes down to Kapala, the player who is 400 meters away from the fight. Will he be even able to get some single one? Because Bryce was at least have 3 kills right next to them, and they know where the last player is surviving.
I was not at all expecting this kind of pick because eventually when the guy was cooking up a nade, I thought that at this point Nexus is easily going to shut down the players. But since like that, Nexus won't be that easy to actually cover with. And the last man standing from Nexus is obviously going to be a bit far away in the Milta power region, I believe. That's good enough. But yeah, a complete shutdown. That's exactly what I was not expecting. Some more sprays are coming in from the back ends of the last man standing from Nexus, which is good enough. Yes, the sprays are coming in. But is it enough? I really doubt that, because multiple teams are outside the play circle, and pretty soon, whenever the teams are going to approach in the play circle, there is going to be a fight very soon. And yes, the last man standing, or should I say, second last man standing from the team known as Nexus is already getting compromised, and Bryce versus getting the advantage out of it. On the hindsight, if you talk about Pubg Sports, yes, we do have some decent rotation, some decent angles coming to the play. I would love to see how GG is going to perform at this point. That is gaming gladiators. They're also trying to rotate. I mean, the rotations are the big part of this particular competitive scenario. If we are unable to rotate in the right fashion, yes, obviously the points are not going to be that easy. But look at the other zone that has come. Lipovka on the eastern edge, to be honest. On the western edge, we do have Mansion and some of the compounds like that. On the southern edge, we have Prison. So definitely a lot of chunky compounds are there. Go ahead and choose your favorite one.
Let's see which one would be the one being picked. 12 teams, 41 players. And I think almost like somewhere down the line, those are a bit of a concern. But Team Oxygen are going to be once again falling back in terms of the advantages, as OZAROX Esports are down to maybe 1 single player. Yes, it's a 2 players from the side of Team MELISE. 1v2 as a fan place 1 wants to come in, but Levis RTR is just quite ready, and well, the spray comes through. Not the most promising one to take him down, and with that, it's a 1v2. Still a doable one for the side of Sean. Can he take him down? Can he take down 2 players and then come with the revival? Because now all the players from the side of Team MELISE are just going to be, rising back, and that's going to be a devastating move. CORTR takes him down. That's 0 elimination for the side of Team OZAROX Esports. Meanwhile, 8 defeats already. Team MELISE Esports have been looking tremendous. But let's see how things eventually pan out. Team SBJ still up with double players. Team MS, which is going to be MELISE with 4. Team ARR with 4. And we have REGNUM CARYA being at the top 5 spot. But REGNUM CARYA talk about the devil, and they are right here. One knock, the second one, the DBS being another point of action, and this time it's gonna be excuse me who are just falling down to these DBS. One final player remaining, and DBS. Oh, that's not the case, but yes, the rifles are gonna do the job. That excuse me will be eliminated with 4 total eliminations which they had at the 11th spot. So this leaves us with the top 10 teams surviving.
Yeah, top 10 teams, 35 players, and look at that. Another slam is going to come in. This is MADBULLS, which is going to fight with REGNUM CARYA. Let's see how the fight goes to happen. And if we talk about ER, yes, there are some more picks coming in from their particular perspective as well. But Tuliga is not going to survive anytime soon. Seems like that. Yes, that trade, or should I say that pressure that was there was absolutely mesmerizing. On the hindsight, now Frozen has to heal himself because yes, multiple utils are going to get used up onto him so that they can avoid the pressurizing scenario. And Tron is actually eliminating all the position points. All the position is actually getting shared by this particular guy, but currently he has done the job. Oh, that trade was actually quite close, and Zelician was able to get out of it. And for esports, is CVN on the other corner gets one more. Civilian finishes off the player, and our Venkatago was actually able to get more and more picks. That's interesting. Yes, multiple angles are coming in. Domination is there for next year, but at the same time, when the domination came in, their elimination was also there. I was surprised to see that.
Exactly, Team Mad Bulls need to revive. And if they don't, I think it's the time that they're playing against. It's their numbers advantage that they're going to be giving away. But what? Laxi just falls down like that. And I mean, that's an easy way to capitalize for the start of Tuka. But now the nade is also coming in. Tuka. Oh, the nade is at the right spot. And that's what's going to be the knock for the start of Silka. Now Team Mad Bulls realize that that revival could have been the most promising one. Oh, meantime, Team MELISE lose out a player through a car slam who just runs the vehicle over, and that's Team ARR being in the top. Now, ARR is up at the top 2 position. Okay, so they are up from Team SBJ. Fight for number 1, where we thought it's Team SBJ. Now is in for the side of Team ARR as well, but SBJ, a good knock coming in from the side of S12K. Not good for another one. The instant trade comes in, and this time it's going to be MADBULLS who will come up on top with the DBS. So that's tremendous. Shotguns have been looking powerful today, but the nade. This is going to be an interesting one. 5 kills domination, but the DBS does the job, and that's Team SBJ falling victim to these shotguns. The fight for number 1 indeed is going to go on, and it's going to be none other than Team ARR. Still, it's going to be a lot of, I'll say struggle for them. It's like they need almost 13 points from now on. Maybe if they get the winner in a chicken dinner, 3 more frags, they would be talking. But Team RUYA Esports with 4-man advantage. 2 final minutes remaining before the circle ends up. And top 7 teams, I think each and every team are just heading towards the center of the circle at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. The next circle is actually going to be quite chaotic. Every team Esports is already moving towards the other angles that they want to go with. But it's a very open-ended, approach coming in. So yes, I really believe at this point, MADBULLS can actually attack onto them and maybe just completely shut them down. But every esports now slowly but surely have got their own momentum. They're not going to stop that easily. But from the other corner, MELISE esports finds one. A beautiful shot down has been delivered. And I really believe at this point that the power is not going to be that easy for sure. But yes, some good shots on the players of MELISE esports is actually pushing them on the back foot. I really believe this kind of pick, this kind of aggression is going to help him a lot. I would love to see how this situation happens and how he is actually going to assist the particular teammates. But at the end, scopes are there. At the end, they can check out where the player is and eventually shoot him down as well, so that they can get the pin from precise location. We can clearly see there were some shots, there were some picks, but prison, that's the area where they are residing. And eventually the next play zone is shrinking, which is not that far away, but eventually while rotating to that particular location, players from that's themselves that you are spraying on can easily attack you, that can easily access your location and just completely shut it down. So Buggy is the vehicle, vehicle that they are actually choosing. Obviously, the peninsula is not going to be that comfortable and also quite exposing. So obviously, sitting on the peninsula is actually quite like suicide letter that has been signed for go. But moving forward, airdrop has been taken down by brothers Kazers. So again, the airdrop advantage falls in the hands of a worthy man. Moving forward, how is the other guy going to survive? With the particular Buggy, the player from Nexus Gaming is obviously going to fall back. He was the last man standing, if I'm not wrong, and being the last man standing, he has to do a lot of heavy lifting. He has to wash his clothes and eventually come up with some good picks as well. At the end, every esports is now also going to get compromised because 5 amazing eliminations. That's what we have, and every single guy went out way too out and eventually tried to perform on their own. MELISE esports on the other corner at 7th soon is going to decide something as my statement, as my decision. But very soon, Lipovka is also going to get covered up, or maybe should I say, swarmed up with the cops and stuff like that. But before that, I believe the small angles, the small rotations that these players are trying to cut up with are absolutely mesmerizing. You can see the last man standing from Nexus was trying to appoint some good AK shots onto this buggy, although it was not that fruitful. But what if the shots were appointed quite accurately? What if the shots have been connected? Then eventually that guy from Nexus would have got the next finish in his favor. Gilly Suit having the advantage of Gilly Suit is absolutely amazing, but seems like that nowadays people are aware of how that Gilly Suit can be negotiated, can be differentiated from the real grass. At the same time, we have Price versus players trying to rotate, trying to have the advantage out of it. One more shot, and now again, ARR Esports is on his knees.
Exactly, and I think with that, we come down to the final five teams. 12 players surviving. Team MADBULLS with 1, Team REGNUM with 1, Team ARR with 2. For esports, let's see if they could finally get that first breakthrough. Out of all the 5 teams, only one team is the one who has managed to get that winner chicken dinner, and that's Team ARR. Rest 4 will really be struggling, but team, like esports have the best possible advantage at this position. Let's see where the circles are going to pan out, because I think down there in the centers of the circle, Team REGNUM have a good advantage. And just from the back lines, I think Team Esports is also coming in. Meanwhile, Team 4, they get the first breakthrough. It's Team ARR who gets down in front of them, and it's only 2 more players surviving from the side of Team ARR. Team for esports, there's a lot of noises being done, but Team Bra are not really willing to execute it. They're playing in for the winner chicken dinner, which is actually good, because with the 4-man advantage, the level of domination they could do, it could really go against Team Foot and Team ARR. Like Team REGNUM and Team MADBULLS are really playing in for this position point. They're not at all being inside the play. Meantime, if you talk about Team Foot Esports, they know for a fact that, getting any frags at this point is just one extra point being added to make sure that they come at the top 8 leaderboard. And that is what they need at this point. 6 kills already, which means top 12, and if they get at the top 3 position, I think by the end of this map, they are surely at the top 8 position. But let's see if that's going to happen or no. Team Esports, meantime, the numbers advantage, a risky position for Team, to rotate in, but will it be a promising one? REGNUM at the same time. Oh, the spray isn't the promising one, but Team ARR, that's it. Yeah, and the play zone is the one. Oh my god, for esports, they are going to be so annoyed with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. They did a lot of damage onto the particular play zone, but eventually the last final touch was in the favor of play zone, and finally the MADBULLS have been eliminated. We are left with just 4 teams. We have BESIKTAS, FUT, ARR, and eventually REGNUM. Let's see how those situations are going to be fruitful for every esports, because yes, now all the utilities that have been safeguarded in the initial few circles now are getting utilized. You can really see multiple needs are coming to the play, multiple smokes are being utilized, and the other guy from FUT Esports is trying to rotate, trying to get an idea, but yeah, finally drops down once again. Again, the sprays are going to come in, but before anything happens, Spider-Man retaliates and was able to take him down, was able to get the vengeance, and at the same time, full Ripman Steven is actually going to be there. I would have to see how FUT Esports' last 3 members are also going to survive to this particular upsale. But yes, all in all, the players which were residing in Lipovka, which thought that Lipovka will be the central area for the play zone, is actually going to not is actually going to be completely different, to be honest, because yes, we have to vacate the Lipovka region, move it further on the eastern sides, and then eventually perform, because it's a very open-ended space. Obviously, there are high risk about it, and I would love to see how far these situations are going to get carried away, because ARR Esports is a good type of vehicle, it's an aggressive type of vehicle, to be honest. But yeah, still in the 6th particular play zone, we have 4 teams and 8 players. Not even a single situation has shifted after the whole scenario of the today's situation. But all in all, ARR Esports is good. And what about the locations?
Team ARR and Team Foot are down to 2, and Team Esports as well. I mean, like, I don't know if Team Esports can actually win the winner chicken dinner. Like, they have been playing really, see, like, just look at that. There was no need for Elvis to just go in, and for that individual brawl, he loses that numbers advantage, and it's going to be none other than REGNUM Wild, who capitalizes on that. Already with the back of this level 3 helmet and vest, he might reveal his position, but Esports has no one to retaliate. They're looking underconfident. They're looking as if there's no call coming in from the side of IGL, and they are looking as if they might really give away this winner chicken dinner, which was potentially for them. The Team ARR closes in, and with that, it's going to be a big elimination for the side of REGNUM. So this puts them down in a 2 versus 2 versus 2 scenario. Team Foot are up with a good, advantage. They are up with a good lead, and Team ARR are just behind them. 5 kills already. REGNUM CARYA, an unfortunate elimination, but indeed a very fortunate game for them with 9 total eliminations.
9 amazing eliminations. That's a huge number, to be honest, but eventually securing the top 3 positions was absolutely the goal for the guy. But yes, after the eliminations, nothing can happen. With the ghillie suit, Bravi Sports' Kisser is trying to just be a bit more sneaky, but obviously those Carls can eliminate his position, and that is why he's just trying to be a bit more sneaky. He's trying to fall back a bit. Whenever he is able to rotate, he's going to come up and purchase a particular bottle so that he can have the mode at the same time as well. But if we talk about FUT's perspective, Xavier is going to be there in the top of that particular ridge. He's trying to perform. Peak 77 is the guy who has got the money and eventually is going to purchase purchase a bottle as well. But at the same time, some more space. Kaiser gets taken down. What a beautiful takedown. With that, I really believe at this point that Bravi Sports is about to get shut down because the last man standing that is there is still not being that visible, but pretty soon he's going to be visible, and after that, not even a single thing will be visible about it.
I think Team Bryce was like really the confidence is playing a better role here against them. Team Foot and ARR. Can ARR get that second winner chicken dinner for them for the day? This would mean the #1 would belong to them. But it's a really difficult win condition at the same time. Meanwhile, taking a look, ARR going up next to the side of Team Foot, and Foot, oh, they know that it's a shotgun, that's of no use. And the shotguns, I mean, how long are they expecting it to use? Are they really going on for a double DBS play? I mean, Team ARR, this is so unfortunate. And like Team Foot are realizing the fact that this could be their first winner chicken dinner, given the fact that how badly it was strategized from the side of Team ARR. Nonetheless, Foot is coming in. There comes another knock, and this time it's going to be Team Bra being eliminated. It's a 1 versus 2 scenario. Bra really tried their level best, but Strix is now falling back. The fallen MVP from the map of Erangel once again comes in here. The nade is impactful, and yes, the nade would find the first knock. It's Savian who will be the last man surviving. It once again comes into 1v1, and it once again comes into the hands of Becca. The previous one, Becca was in this position. He won it in a 2 versus 1 fashion. This time it's the numbers against him. Cars flying around, players calling out for revival, and being out of util. It's gonna be Becca who needs to do some magic. He gets 4 grenade here. So that's the util which he wanted. With these, he could really do some damage. He could really try his luck. 10 kills for Team Foot. If they win this winner chicken dinner, it's going to be 21 points total for them. If Team ARR wins it, it's going to be 16 for them. But can they compromise at second post? Baker gets spotted. It's a double push, but what a car slam coming in out of the sort of Sven. And that's nowhere that he got damage through that scar. Now he wants to heal himself up. Player's going to be spotted up. It's player pinching on from both the sides, and it's Baker. Needs to prone down to get himself up in any sort of cover. There's an airdrop right next to him, but it's going to be Becca who will be taken down, and Team Foot finally from the bottom last position to the #1 winner chicken dinner. They are going to be the one who will win the final match of the day 1. You're at the Ruthless Europe Invitationals, and man, that could have went as close as ever if you ask me, because I did not expected it to go that intense. Team Bra Esports definitely had the numbers advantage, but not the level of confidence they needed.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, they were able to judge from which angle the FUT is going to attack onto them. At the end, it's really important for the IGL and also the player to follow up those instructions that are going to come from the IGL's perspective. And it's really important to get an idea how the enemy can actually perform. But at the end, yes, #8 is going to be positioned as we were expecting that. Single amazing performance can easily bump up their positions a lot, and that's exactly what happened. Let's talk about the winner chicken team start the 6. If we talk about the MVP, that actually might be a guy known as REP7 because he has got the 527 damage, and eventually damage taken is 449. 3 knockouts were actually utilized, and eventually knockouts are just 1. Go for it at this point. Damage for 1066, damage taken 151, animation 7, and knockouts 4. So yeah, kind of a decent thing. But yes, this was the individual statistics for the winner chicken dinner team. Let's now move on to the real situation teams to watch. FUT Esports 7.15 किलोमीटर का डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल करके 3 स्मोक से 3 मॉली मार के इस तरीके से पूरा का पूरा सिचुएशन को तय से किया है. दैट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी इजी. एंड ऑन द अदर कॉर्नर आरजीबी 5167 मीटर्स से बोल रहा था, एंड इवेंचुअली पूरी स्क्वाड का टाइम यहाँ पे देखने को मिल रहा था. And if we talk about travel distance, if we talk about WCUs, if we talk about full squad time, then it's not good. And at the same time, we had some other rules as well. But now moving forward, if I talk about the MVP, and it is going to be FUT's Xavier. 7 eliminations, 10 down, 66 is going to be the damage, and throwables used were 2 with just 1 assist.
Exactly, and I think that is just how, like, that's the tip of the iceberg entirely, if you ask me, because the way this player saved up the entire team, I think that was so much needed. But nonetheless, now it comes down to how the overall, game comes in for the start for Team FUT. As you can see, 21 points for the start of Team FUT. Yet the number one team who might remain would be Team ARR. Team REGNUM CARYA comes out to be the second team that only had one player. Team ARR as the third spot with 11 points. Team, I think, MELISE had they had good numbers when you talk about their situation. But nonetheless, now it comes down to the final place. SBG with only 6. The number one, FLUX are up with only 1 single point. So no points for the side of Sleep Europe, for the side of Team Major Pride. And I mean, the list goes on, but 7,459 total healings, 60 eliminations, 59 knockouts, 8 headshots. And I mean, Savian being up with the longest elimination distance. So that's up with the match stats. So let's take a look after what the MVPs and the rest of the screens are going to show us. Because one thing which I'm really excited for is indeed going to be none other than the overall standing. Before the match standing came in, I think there were 40 points for the side of Team ARR. And now with that 6 kills second point, they have 15 points. So it's 55. So I think it's just 1 point difference. It's 1 point. They're 55. The team at the second is 54. I mean, this is something which is something to talk about. But CORTR, 10 elimination. Are you kidding me? That's we have hardly seen any team get 10 elimination. And it's this player who solely himself gets 10 elimination for himself in the entire day. And with that, 2,158 damage. I mean, MELISE Esports, they were looking wonderful today.
I mean, definitely being the overall MVP is not an easy task, because yes, we do consider 40% of the damage, 40% of the survival time, and 20% of the elimination. So at the end, yes, there were some other guys which were aggressive. For example, you can clearly see SBG's Robs was able to get 13 eliminations, but when it comes to his survival time and also damage is actually way too far away. There are quite a few players who is easily going to dethrone them. For example, SBG's Victor is going to be there. We have Triple R's, Becca also surviving. We have Mac Darish and Mad Frozen. I would love to see how the performance is going to get enacted with that. The chill one, to be honest. I would love to see.
Exactly, but with that, taking a look after the overall MVP, things are really looking tremendous if you ask me. And I mean, 10 eliminations here on the second, it's Victor. But overall frag, it's going to be none other than Rock, Frozen at the second spot, and it's going to be Trix at the third. I mean, overall frags have been only down to 1-1 differential, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, it all comes down to one, a matter of 1 kills. But nonetheless, I think Frozen, he had a good start of the day, but then it just on the back of DBS, the way I think Team ARR ended up, it was completely something which we did not expect. DBS is the meta to go for, but not the shortcut for you. That isn't the last thing that's the last thing you would want to depend on. But overall scorecard, and it's ARR being up with 51 points. Oh, I thought they came at the second position, but I was wrong. They came at the third position in the previous game. Due to that, the difference of 4 points definitely comes in. FLUX still remains the number one. It's going to be SBJ with a 10 points behind the number one spot. But they had a head start. They had 20 points in the first game. Then after that, in the rest 4 games, they only had 24.
I mean, that's the biggest part. Started off quite well, but slowly but steadily they are tumbling down. And eventually, I usually say that due to the newer point distribution system, every now and then, if you have 5 matches, every single match should actually have at least 10 points. So after the day gets over, at least 50 points should be in your favor, so that you can start off the next day in your favor. That's exactly what FLUX is trying to do. That's exactly what some other teams which had got the ARR which have secured 51 points is trying to do. But I'm surprised to see Sly Europe and even Gaming Gladiators, even Major Pride, NEXUS Gaming, BESIKTAS is struggling that much, because these are few of those amazing teams which can easily bounce back a lot. And even BESIKTAS Esports, which was, I believe, at the 5th or 6th position in the first 2 matches, but after that, look at the drastic drop of the situation, because now BESIKTAS Esports is struggling with 12th position, NEXUS with 13th, 18 and 22 points is what they are respectively getting. So I really believe at this point, getting the right choice tomorrow is going to be really very important. And also, if a particular team wants to go for some drop clashes, they have to read the particular team which is there in the drop clash pretty much accurately so that they can take them part bit by bit. All in all, tomorrow will be the day of comeback. We would love to see a lot of comeback coming up tomorrow. This was the day of initiation, tomorrow the day of comeback, and after day after tomorrow, it will be the judgment day where we'll get to see which are the top few teams who is going to get the major share of the prize pool. But today, this is it, guys. My name is Raider. Along with me, it was Opcon on the desk. And this is Ruthless IP Sports presenting you guys Europe Invitational Showdown. For the day, we are out. Tomorrow, we'll be seeing you at the same time, I believe. Till then, peace out.
Void.